But I think the worst part, as somebody who knows Connor, is we all know that he does shit like this all the time. So then he sends out a picture of him on a stretcher, and it's just his face looking like, oh, what did I do? And he just says, oops. So I see that. My brother reaches out to me, my girlfriend reaches out to me. She's like, did Connor have a skydiving accident? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to find out, guys. Hold on, just give me a minute. I don't know, maybe Connor's not okay, guys. Oh, I saw the guy hit the ground. I'm like, oh, Connor did it too. He had to one up that guy. Oh no, he bounced 12 feet.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 84 of the Andrew Deitch podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed my April Fool's episode from Sunday. If you haven't heard it yet, definitely go check it out. It was really funny. And even though the whole thing was totally fake, it was still a really good episode. So go listen to it. It was pretty funny if you haven't already. But anyways, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. Thanks for checking it out. Hopefully it's not too echoey in here. I'm in this like rooftop lounge right now. My friend Richard from episode 47, Richard Corbett, he is letting me hang out at his condo. Yeah, so anyways, I'm recording this in an echoey environment, but hopefully I can fix it. Anyways, basically, if this is your first time joining me, thanks for joining me. This podcast is all about having meaningful conversations with the dopest and most fascinating people I know, people who are outliers from the rest of society. I have a lot of thoughts about that, but anyways, I'm becoming a little more established, and I feel like I have a better grasp on what this show is and where it's going. And I can't thank you guys enough for checking it out. There's literally like a million other things you could be listening to right now, and I am absolutely honored that you're listening to my show. So before we get started, this episode of the Andrew Deitch podcast is brought to you by Brooke Watson from Keller Williams, Chattahoochee North. She's a real estate agent and a longtime friend. And instead of just reading a boring ad, I want to lead with value first by playing the second half of a quick clip from our conversation from the last episode. And on that last episode, Brooke told us that the first thing you need to do when jumping into real estate investing is to figure out what types of properties you want to buy. And there were three main options: house flipping, buying a rental property and leasing it out, and multi-unit dwellings. So now that we figured out what type of property we want, Brooke is going to share with us what to do next.
And then the next thing we'll do is to find a great agent to sell the crap out of your property in at least 5 days so you can get your return as fast as possible. And if you continue using the same agent, usually they help give you like a flat fee, or they charge less in commission because you're giving them volume. So things like that are really important. But you never want to go with like a discount broker just because they're cheaper, because it doesn't mean they'll sell your house faster, and it could go through all these price reductions, and that's kind of awful.
That is kind of awful. I would not wish that upon anybody. All right. Thank you, Brooke. If you have any real estate related questions, make sure you send them our way so that Brooke can answer them on the show. And if you're interested in working with her, check out her website, BrookeWatson.House. That's where you can reach out to her. And just because she's located here in Atlanta doesn't mean that she can't help you or connect you to the right person. So again, thanks to Brooke Watson of Keller Williams, Chattahoochee North for sponsoring this episode. All right, so my guests with an S are two ADP veterans. ADP stands for the Andrew Deitch podcast, in case you didn't know. But that would be Alex Guthrie and Connor Peterson. And this was actually my first episode with two guests. And if you want to go back and hear their stories individually, you can go check out episodes 13, 22, and 61. They've been on the show 3 times, geez. But in case you didn't know, Connor is a ninja warrior, skydiver, rock climber, OCR Elite Athlete, skateboarder and snowboarder, and a personal trainer. And Alex is a professional musician. Last year, he starred in the nationally aired American Family Insurance ad campaign with Jennifer Hudson. A few months ago, he opened for Kelly Clarkson, and he just dropped his new single, Is It Me, last month, that I'm going to play for you at the end of the podcast, so make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be awesome. We had a great time discussing what's next for all of us. Alex had some really exciting stuff in the pipeline. Connor fell 55 feet from the top of a rock climbing wall and didn't die, so we talked about that and how that managed to happen. And we recorded this on Facebook Live as well, so we got to have some audience interaction, which was really fun. So let's just jump into the show. Please welcome my friends, Connor Peterson and Alex Guthrie.
Oh, we can start with 3 in unison? This is a good start.
Very good. So you have to do the clap to sync up the audio. All right.
I'm just really enthused.
Just one
I
singular
want to give
clap.
a round of applause.
All right. So welcome everybody. This is very exciting because this is the first podcast ever in existence. No, this is the first podcast that I've ever done with 2 guests.
First three-way.
First 3-way on the podcast, live and in person. Hey, interpret that how you will. But anyways, I want to start things off actually introducing how we met each other, because we've all been on the podcast before. So Alex was on episode. Yeah, Alex has been on the. I think you were episode like 20 something.
I think it was 24.
24. That sounds right.
Around that, give or take 5.
Yeah, and Connor was on episode early on, like episode like 15, and then you were on episode like 50 something.
Late 50, early 60s.
Yeah. So you've both been on the podcast. So this is, jeez, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But so how did you guys meet? Because you guys met before I met you guys.
Yeah, we met back at freshman year at Kennesaw State, and through a mutual friend, my roommate John Gunther, and did he know you or he knew Andrew?
He knew Andrew. Well, I had met him before.
Okay.
We'd hung out a couple times. We weren't close friends by
Not me,
that
Andrew.
point. Different Andrew.
Confusion. Our friend AJ, and so we ended up. Did you first meet at my apartment, or was it on
It
campus?
was at the Lofts.
It was at the Lofts.
It was at the Lofts.
That
You
was
were
my
shirtless.
apartment complex. Shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we met there. We hung out at the first time we really hung out for a while was at the Kennesaw campus when we walked around and I think you had your guitar with you.
Probably.
And I think I made you sing and play music for every single person who passed by. I was like, you need to hear this guy.
Thanks, by the way. And also, why?
Yeah. And we didn't hang out that much more after that. We really, once we decided to move in together, like we hung out a usual friend amount, kind of.
I don't think we knew each other that well when we moved in.
Not that well at all.
It was more like
a handful
of
of times.
I got a text from Andrew saying, "Hey, do you want to live in Kennesaw?" Because I was already out of school at that point, and I thought, yeah, I can live vicariously through them.
Yeah, and so we got an apartment together, and that's when your music career started really taking off, and our snake breeding career took off.
I don't know if it took off at that point.
Never really. What, your music career?
No.
It was definitely a stay. Oh no, you kind of went down for a little. You didn't know if you were going to stick with music.
I know, right?
For a little bit there.
Yeah, depression's fun.
We're going to start this podcast as depressing as possible.
So for people listening that haven't listened to the previous ones we were mentioning, Alex is an amazingly talented musician.
Thanks, man.
And so you were saying that Alex's career kind of was in a little downhill. We actually talked
he's
about
probably
that.
going to do it. Yeah, I was about to say, you'd probably do a much better job at explaining where you're at. Because I remember you at least telling me, you're like, man, like, I don't know about this whole music thing.
You build up expectations, and then if you don't hit them like exactly on the mark, you think maybe you're doing the wrong thing. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I'm sure. No, you've pretty much hit it hard with the podcast, and just kind of went. Boop.
Yeah, but there was definitely in like October, I hit kind of like a peak of I had some really good episodes that got a lot of traction, and then the holidays hit, and I think that's kind of a slower time because I found myself not listening to as many podcasts during the holidays just because, you know,
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot
That's
going on.
all businesses except the
But
Christmas
I
tree
wasn't, yeah. But I wasn't sure if that was the case of why my numbers were declining a little bit, or if it was like, I have to live up to the expectations of the really good episodes from October, because like November, December, January even, it was like dipping and going lower and lower than it had been. Even dipping lower than like my first month, which was like kind of sad for me, because I was like, did I just get beginner's luck? Did I just like...
Oh, trust me, I know that.
Yeah, because in the beginning it was doing so well that I almost didn't believe it. I'm like, are these analytics messed up? Like, but I then there was some dips and stuff. I'm like, I guess this is real because it's showing like downward progress, not just only up. So that, but anyways, I did kind of get burned out for a bit, and now I feel like I've gotten back up to where I was as far as listeners per week and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty exciting.
I think that comes to a good point, like, because you love doing these podcasts, you love doing music, but no matter what, if you do something too much or very often, or you put expectations on yourself, no matter how much you love doing it or how many expectations you do meet, like, you're going to get burnt out at certain points.
Also, especially if you have analytics to monitor, you get so obsessed with monitoring them, and then you're not just satisfied with like having growth. It's got to be at the same rate, and like it feels like you're losing everybody if you're still growing but not quite at that rate. And I think that's the hard thing to chase. It's, I would assume, like chasing a high. Not that I endorse that.
No, yeah, I feel you though, because you're chasing something that in its own essence can't be permanent, because you're always chasing the next.
Absolutely.
And it's also an acceptance among the tribe, you know, like that whole, who wrote that book, Tribe? I forgot who wrote it. But I mean, it talks about how like important that even people who do it. Yeah, Pocahontas has it. Even people who can claim to be like very to themselves, like we still want the tribe to approve of us. And so especially once now we have analytics of that. And so we see literal in our heads approval ratings of the tribe of people in our niche, in our community, of our age group, of male, female. They'll split it apart in all certain ways, and you want to be accepted by everyone.
Absolutely.
And so you see this, and now we have a metric to gauge it against. So if that goes down or even flatlines, you go, "Why am I being less accepted now?" Instead of being like,
and
you
also,
see yourself as less accepted, and that you're doing something wrong. When in reality,
Instagram
nature.
just changed their algorithm.
Exactly.
That's been a running theme of tonight so far, everyone.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like once you start into it, you don't have any knowledge of what it's actually going to be like. So anything positive that happens is huge, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm killing it. But then you see your new peers, and they've been at it longer, or they've got this experience that you don't yet have, and you're like, oh, well, actually, I suck at this. So you have this like burst of confidence and this burst of, hell yeah, everything's going great, and then you see what everybody else is doing, and you realize, oh, I'm actually kind of a small fish in this. Everybody else is incredible. Then you start to doubt that you actually have legitimacy at it, and then you've got to strive to the next level to just give your own, meet your own self-worth.
Yeah,
sure.
And that can definitely be seen with really any skill even. So like say you're learning how to play the guitar and you just learned how to do a chord progression that you've been working on. You're like, oh, I finally nailed it. And then like someone shows up and just like starts slaying away.
And his name is Landon Jordan.
His name is Landon Jordan, yep. And then especially if you're younger, your immediate satisfaction instantly goes down because you're like, oh, well, I was happy, but now I see what could be, and now I'm just going to be disappointed that I'm not there. And that's not very constructive. It's cool if you see that and you go, oh, I can't wait to do that. I'm really still stoked, but unfortunately, a lot of, including myself, I'm trying to learn the piano right now, and then I'm like, oh, I'm fucking killing it. I watch one YouTube video of someone who's like, my 1 year progression, and I see them like really killing it. I'm like, oh, I suck.
Yeah.
Where I was super happy until I saw somebody else doing better, and then I was upset, and that's dangerous.
Yeah. I can relate. Recently I've started getting into like video stuff.
Yeah.
And so last night I was at an event called Turntable Yoga at Pond City Market, and I was filming with my friend John. And when I got there, it was one of the first events that I've shot for, and it was exciting and all this stuff. I've got all my new gear and all this stuff, excited. And a guy that I know named Preston, who hopefully I'm going to have him on the podcast actually, but Preston makes amazing videos, and he was in attendance of this event, and he's like, oh, cool, you're taking pictures? Like, and I'm kind of like...
It's kind of like the big guy, like, oh, hey, buddy, you could try to,
yeah,
try
exactly.
to shoot videos too.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just well, now I got to really step my game up because Preston's here. Hopefully I don't look like an idiot, but...
Dude, your edit was awesome.
Thanks,
your
man.
edits are fantastic.
Thank you.
What are you shooting with?
So I recently acquired a Canon 70D. So
nice.
I kind of stepped up to
That has the flip-out screen too, right?
It's got a flip-out screen.
It's the perfect vlog camera.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The old Casey Neistat special.
Yep.
And then I also acquired a DJI Osmo.
Nice. The one with the camera built in, not the
Yes,
Osmo
not
mobile.
the mobile like you have. The Osmo with the thing built in, which I have mixed reviews about so far.
Just for your audio's sake. Man, pollen.
Allergies suck.
You've been trying not to.
Oh, I've been holding that back for a while. I didn't want to kill the conversation.
And you got a Mavic now too.
Yes, and I acquired.
there's so much fun.
I finally got over saying Maverick every time.
Oh,
It's taken about a year.
That hurt me.
It's taken
Every
It's
time.
not Maverick.
I need to stop saying Maverick every time. Alex, it's Mavic. Sorry, but it's not. They just spelled it wrong. But okay.
Yeah, right.
Some guy in marketing was like, "Hey man, are you ready with the Maverick?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, the what?"
It's the
I already printed everything.
It's the DJI Maverick Pro. The DJI Maverick Pro. Everyone go out and buy
our
a
CEO
DJI.
Maverick's gonna be pissed.
That's hilarious. Yeah, but
You got
So-
quite the setup now, though.
literally like 2 weeks ago I had a GoPro. And now I have like
That's where I'm at.
3 amazing tools. Not to knock on GoPro, to be honest. They're
they're
very
great.
powerful for what they are, for sure.
For what
I mean,
they are.
they're that big, so like they're all. But like we were saying earlier,
action
like
cam.
there's no substitution for higher quality stuff. Like GoPro can't pretend to be as good as.
It's not pretending to be. It's an entirely different.
It knows its niche. It knows its
Exactly.
job.
It's a good camera to throw around, and it's a great camera to stick in weird places and all. And that's actually what. So,
You would not
sticking
believe
in weird places.
what he's gotten out of that camera.
Meaning like putting it in a corner, putting it inside of a bottle, and like pouring water into it, like for a cool angle or something. Like not.
bottle.
Yes. God dang it. But yeah, like now I have some professional gear, and yeah, I guess not air quotes. It's professional
That's
gear.
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exciting because now I don't feel the imposter syndrome as much. I have this, but it still didn't cure it completely because when Preston was like, "Oh, what you got there?" I'm kind of like, "Yeah, I just got this whole thing."
It's like their top tier crop sensor, right?
right.
Is it a full frame?
No, it's a crowd frame.
APS-C?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway, I totally get it because I've got friends that are like they've got.
Like a 1DX and
Well, I've got this one guy in particular who I met about a year ago, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm like I do some films. I'm a director of sorts," and I'm like, "Oh, really cool, man. I've got this camera." And he's like, "That's cute." And then he starts talking about his cameras. He's got like $30,000, $40,000 worth of camera equipment. I'm like, "That's not." I tried once. It's
Did you say he has a red? Too?
yeah, he's got a red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
which is black, and that's disappointing.
it's got
called a
red buttons though.
It does have red buttons.
Yes. And I've actually heard a lot of people have trouble in airports with them because literally some of
looks-
them are called like the red weapon.
And
Like one of them is called the red weapon. So it literally says the word weapon on it. It's got a bunch
and
of
it's
big
in a
batteries.
huge like
It doesn't
Pelican
look
case.
like a camera.
No, it
and
does
it's
not.
in a Pelican
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Exactly.
It looks like you're about to go do some tactical shit. Like I'm the marshal on this flight.
One of my buddies, Austin Bell, which he has amazing content.
I've watched his some videos. They're really
He's the
good.
guy that has
Insane.
those killer edits that you showed me.
Yeah, Austin.Bell is his Instagram, so check him out. He's a skydiving friend of mine, and he was talking about his friend who had a red and like dropped it. I think he said it was like on a safari, like something where they're
you
driving in the
told me
sand
about
and everything,
this.
and it dropped and just got filled with sand and like at that like broke, and at that point it's just like done. And how much do those run? Those run.
Well, I mean, like there's a huge range. So the one that my buddy got was well over $10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's his work tool.
Yeah.
If you do anything for a living, you got to get the appropriate equipment. And he was telling me that he wanted to go do some cool nature filming with me. And I suggested, hey, let's go down to the Okefenokee Swamp. And we're still waiting to set that trip up. He's like, yeah, I'll bring down the red. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't bring the red. Maybe you bring like a GoPro or something. Because I don't want to be the guy that splashes your camera and then ruins your life.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot.
Do they make waterproof cases for those? And
I'm sure, and I'm sure
mean,
they're very
sure.
expensive.
Yeah,
Sure.
a lot of the.
But
I know that.
I want to go on that trip with you, so I'm coming with. Just so you know.
I'll be here.
Come swamping with us.
Yeah. No, but a lot of the professional grade, like high-end cameras are weatherproofed because they know they're going to be in like very rigorous conditions a lot of times.
Yeah, they're weatherproofed, but it's like
They're not
if you're in a no, a lot of them are sandproof. They're not like. It's the difference between water resistant and submergible.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they
for
can
sure.
handle some intense conditions, but if you drop it in a lake, it's still gonna die. It's a good luck.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, for example, on the red cameras, there's a lot of exposed like fans and stuff like that. Where
Oh yeah.
you wouldn't, you wouldn't want to get that thing wet.
Yeah, but yeah, your quality is going to be going up like crazy these next couple of months, especially as you start to figure your gear out more and everything.
Yeah, and that's what I've realized is I have a passion for editing for sure. That's where I think I definitely shine. I still need to get the actual videography down more, but I really enjoy it, and that's something that...
It's a lot to learn.
It is a lot to learn, and I didn't think I would enjoy it. I always dreaded doing that kind of stuff. When a long time ago, I used to have a YouTube channel where I just make dumb videos, and purposefully I would do it all in one take just so I wouldn't have to like try to edit it or mess with it. Yeah, I would just try to...
Oh, you open up a video editor and it's so intimidating that it's really easy to just go, and exit out. Like,
I got my first professional camera, my first nicer camera, I got 2 years ago, and I got it with just the intention of trying to do some pictures for fun every once in a while. And I thought, no way, I'm gonna want to do video. But now I like do way more video than I do photo. Yeah. And I thought it was so daunting that it was not even worth my time investment to do. But like you can just delve into YouTube and then click suggested videos for days. Yeah. And then you come out the other side like, I
didn't know that about Furbies and Beanie Babies.
Exactly.
Or dyslexia.
Should we explain that?
Dyslexia. Editing is one of those things that we talked about this earlier, how there's very few things, at least for me, that gets me into that flow state where you lose all track of time. There's no, and you just get so enveloped in it, and you're like sucked into it that the time doesn't matter, and like you just get like wrapped in it. And like video editing has done that for me. And I'm very new, and I'm not great yet by any means, but I'm definitely getting.
You're killing it.
I'm getting what?
You're killing it.
Thanks. I'm
the
trying
one
to
you
get
just
better.
showed me was really good.
Right?
Thank you. And but like, so. Caitlin had left for work, and hours upon hours went by, and then she calls me and she's just like, "Hey, I'm on my way home." And I like, if you ask me, if somebody just like, "How long have you been doing this?" I'd be like, 45 minutes, hour. Like, and so like finding something that can get you into that flow state is like, I think pretty important. Like that's how you know if you're really interested in something, because when I sit down to start editing, a lot of times it's still like, I don't really want to do this, but I'm trying to get.
Then you just get pulled in.
10 minutes in, I'm just like loving it.
Well, the funny thing about video, at least for me, I really gain a new appreciation for anybody's videos. Because, I mean, like, I like to do 1 to 3 minute edits for like a little vlog.
And we have very different styles.
Yeah, entirely different styles. Yeah. But when I'll set out to do like a vlog, I helped this turtle cross the road yesterday.
That was great.
It is a 58-second video that took me like 2 hours to do. And it should not have taken me 2 hours to do. But it did. And like, there's like 10 edits in it. And I came out the other side, like, oh, okay, same thing what Connor's saying. It's been, 20 minutes? And all of a sudden, I'm late for everything I'm doing.
Literally. That was me this morning and last night. So last night, I went to that event, and I knew that in the morning, so I'm trying to get this up where I know more people hopefully will reach out to me for doing video stuff, because I want to pursue that more. And so I said, I really want to put out the edit the next day. So when people went to the event last night and they're looking at pictures on Instagram from the night before, my video will be in the mix.
Right.
And hopefully people will be sharing and reposting all this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to edit it tonight. And I messaged you, and I didn't go to bed till about 5 a.m. because I just got sucked in. But I remember looking at the clock, I'm like, it's 2 a.m. It seemed like 5 minutes, and I looked down and it said 3 a.m. I did not believe my eyes.
But when you're doing stuff that you don't want to do, it's the opposite. Which is weird. It's like you're at work and it's a bad day of work, and you're like, okay, like look down, it's 2 o'clock. You work. So I've been working for about 3 hours. It's 2:25, and you're like, what the fuck?
Well, that's what's beautiful about having a really open-ended job title, is that my day is like, it might help you today to do some video editing. Do that today, and like that gets to be my job. Maybe I don't get paid for that video. For sure, I won't get paid for that video. But it'll contribute towards the greater good that is my career in music and whatnot. Yep. So that is the job. I get to do that.
Yeah.
You get to do that with skydiving. Like, that's going to be your job one day. You hope.
I hope so. That'd be sweet.
Have you heard that he wants to open up a drop zone at some point?
I think you mentioned it to me, but I didn't process fully, but that's freaking dope. That's awesome.
So far into the future that it's hard to, but when you put it like, you set up small goals, but you still want to have like the very end game in mind. It's like, what potentially could I be doing way later on in life? And that is a potential, and it sounds like a really fun one.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Edit videos from now until then, and it'll feel like it's been 5 minutes.
Sure. I'm just gonna keep editing videos until I own a drop zone.
video
Connor,
content.
happy 30th birthday. Really?
You gotta go work at your drop zone. Oh shit! All right. Yeah, but that would be quite a cool life, and but up until then, just gotta. I have so many licenses to get. I'm still like a very new jumper. I got 92. So that's not, that, and it sounds like a lot to people. Like if somebody had told me they'd jumped 92 times, I'd be like, "Holy shit!" No, it's nothing. It's less than like. Once I have our drop zone owner has 16,000, I think, and then the world record right now is like 44,000.
One drop zone.
I don't know if I've done anything.
No, one person has 44,000 jumps.
Wow.
Well, the owner of our drop zone has 16,000 jumps personally.
Wait, personally?
Yeah, personally.
Holy crap!
I know, right?
Yeah. So.
I'm at 84 podcasts, and I thought I was doing okay.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, geez, 16,000.
But I mean,
I thought Joe Rogan was doing good with
When you hit
like
16,000.
1,100.
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get to 16,000. I think I'm just gonna put that out here right now. But
yeah, he rips and like he's such a busy guy. It's
He does everything all the
me.
time.
There's multiple Joe Rogans. Like he definitely has like it was quintuplets, and so all the like one of them's a stand-up comedian, one of them's a podcaster, one of them's an MMA practitioner, one of them's a bow hunter. It's not the same guy.
I didn't know he did the bow hunting.
Really?
I
He's
did not
big.
know
He's
that
big
about
into
him.
bow hunting.
he's big into bow hunting. He hunts a lot.
Well, that
He eats
version of him. The
his
other ones
meat-
don't care about it much, but he
all of
does.
his meat that he eats is pretty much all like elk that he's shot.
Yeah,
Huh.
he's awesome.
Pretty nuts.
But back to I'd love to
enough
do the
of-
video for skydiving one day. That because I can't even wear a GoPro yet. I just have people videoing me. I'm not allowed to wear one yet. So
Wow.
yeah, 200 jump minimum.
Sorry, dude.
No, it's all right.
It's cool to have video of yourself though, like people shooting you.
Yeah, but I can't get paid for videos of me. Once I start jumping with tandems and I have it on and I do to carve around and get paid to jump out with people and what's cool about the videography job of doing that because being a tandem instructor would be great. You strap yourself to people and you get to help them live out like a bucket list item but being the videographer means that you get to see them the whole time. You get to ask them like, what's going on in your head? Like you having fun? You stoked? And then you jump with them, and you can see their face during the jump. The tandem instructor can't. They just have the back of a head right here, and they just.
That's true.
Yeah, and so you get to carve around them, give them high fives. Like sometimes they'll lay on their back and like let them grab their shoe, and then you get to fly your own parachute too. So you open up under canopy, and you get to have fun before you get down to film their landing, and you get paid. Not a lot, There's not really a lot
Enough
of
to support your meth habit.
Well, yeah.
No, yes, exactly. You know skydivers real well, don't you?
Can we talk about my skydiving experience for a second?
Yes.
What,
for
the
sure.
part that you liked or the part that you didn't like?
We'll start with the day before. So I was really excited to do this. I wanted to show up in time to get the sunset skydive, to have this beautiful, wonderful first dive. And I show up like right as they're taking off. So I went, okay, I'll grab the camera and I'll get some pictures of everybody. And I see this dude coming in too hot, and I'm like, man,
Oh, yeah.
he must be really skilled, which evidently he's a very skilled guy, but people make mistakes. And he hit the ground, and that's always part of it. You always hit the ground,
You never
but it's the
don't
way that he did it.
You never don't make it to the ground.
He slapped it.
He bounced like 10 feet in the air, and I just was going, oh my gosh, a guy died.
Sorry, Cray.
10 feet? Like really?
Dude, I mean,
He bounced?
in the
I didn't
moment,
see it.
I don't know
really,
about 10
didn't
feet, but
see it.
he still
I was with,
bounced.
so Andrew Brownson, he and I corroborated the story. The bounce was like 10 feet, and I just don't see how it's possible. So I questioned my own judgment of it.
I mean, he probably had a headwind, so maybe he hit.
It was
and then
so intense. It was such a loud thud, and I called 911, and they're like, "What's your emergency?" I was like, "A guy fell out of a plane, and he's all right, I guess. I don't know. He's not moving. You should get here." And I'm like running over, like, I don't know if I want to go jumping tomorrow. This might change things for me.
Cameron said if you jumped one time every day, it would take 43 years to get to 16,000 jumps.
Yeah, that's 16,000. The world record's 44,000 too.
So how many times a day are these people jumping?
Kevin doesn't jump. Kevin is the owner of our drop zone. I haven't seen him jump much. But in the people who live at drop zones, which I'm sure he started very young and
So
just
he's rounding a lot.
he's what?
So he's rounding a lot.
But like the people that work there, especially if you become a tandem or a videographer or something like that, you might jump at the super busy drop zones. You might jump like 8, 9, 10 times in a day, especially if you have packers for you and 2 rigs. Like you land and like we only have 1 plane, so there's a lot of time in between loads. But some have like lots. And you can just, like, the moment you land, if you have another parachute, you can get on a plane and go back up.
Wow.
And so especially when you're working, so yeah, you can get a bunch in a day. Like the most I've gotten in a day is 6, I think. And that's at our drop zone. Our drop zone's a little slow just because we only have one pilot, one plane, and we have to shuttle to the, and I have to pack my own parachute. So sometimes I don't make the next load. But yeah.
I couldn't trust myself to pack a parachute because I have to pack to go out of town for like 3 days, and I always forget something.
You always forget your parachute.
You're never gonna forget to put your parachute in the bag because that's really all
I
there's
always
in there.
forget
I'm
my
not worried
parachute.
about not putting it in there, but I've totally like had to pack for a flight where I can only bring my 3-ounce bottle of something, and I probably like a 10-ounce bottle of whatever. And so I get up there and they're like, you can't have this. I'm like, well, I should have planned better and known what goes in the bag at what size, or I'll put it upside down and it'll put soap or aftershave all throughout my bag. It's not aftershave when you're jumping from a plane, unless it's me packing, in which case I might bring aftershave.
Yeah, what's like Caitlin just did her packing class yesterday or 2 days ago.
Caitlin is Connor's girlfriend.
Yes, and
Yes.
she's actually getting certified right now. And so she just did her packing class.
As we speak.
As we speak.
She's jumping right now.
She is
Right here at the
there
house.
right now. Yeah, she should be landing any minute now. But no, she
working
just did
on
her
that
packing class,
16,000.
and when you first go through it, like you are so nervous about everything. You feel like look at every line perfectly, and then you watch these guys who have thousands of jumps, and they seriously just stuff it in the bag and it fit, and they're folding these tiny canopies that just fall over their shoulder and don't make it past like their waist. I have this pretty 190 square feet, and they're jumping like 90 square feet, so I have an extra. But like, so she's doing it, and she's just like, I'm worried about like the flaking, like what the line numbers are, and like doing it all perfectly. And it's like, once you do it enough times and you start jumping your own pack jobs, you get a little bit more lazy with it, just because I've had the worst. No, I have worse pack jobs if I get overly analytical about it. And it's like when you try to do something, like when you think about driving, like because there's a cop behind you, you start like feeling like you drive worse. Almost.
Do I put the cruise control at 45? No, he'll think I'm guilty.
yeah. So I'm not. I still do things that a lot of like people who pack their parachute don't do, or that decide to skip it, like flaking and like doing a lot of other, like I double check everything. But yeah, so it's one of those things.
And your backup parachute stays packed until you
I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed. Well, no, for 180 days. At 180 days, it has to get repacked by a professional rigger. So think of a rigger as a parachute mechanic. Like, I know how to put gas in my car and how to change the oil. I don't know how to change the clutch and the engine, and that's what a rigger does for parachutes. Like, he can do the reserve, which has a spring-loaded pilot chute. It's like, it'll take hours for them to pack it because they make sure those are fucking perfect. And they put a seal on it, and if the seal's
really
broken,
nice.
you won't be allowed to jump at other drop zones. And so every 180 days, who knows if like putting it on a bunch of times might shift something around, they just repack it. And so that's when people think like, oh, you had to use a reserve, like the reserves are way safer.
And it's a bigger canopy, right?
Most times. Because you buy the container, which holds both the parachutes, and then the parachutes separately, and then some kind of AED if you decide to have one. So you piece it together.
An automated external defibrillator.
Exactly. It's in case
So
you have
you
a heart. It's a automatic activation device. It cuts your reserve loop if you like it hit and pass out, and so your reserve pops out. So your reserve is if something happens with the plane under a certain altitude, like you jump out and you pull your reserve because that's a safer parachute than your main. So a lot of people don't know that, but it's a spring-loaded pilot chute, and the odds of something going wrong with your reserve are much slimmer than your main, because we pack our mains. A professional packs the reserves.
So you wouldn't want to fall from a very tall height. Like 55 feet or so, like would be pretty dangerous to fall from.
Yeah, apparently falling 55 feet hurts really, really bad and can put you in some shit situations.
That's a really good segue.
Yeah,
That was probably the best segue that I've ever had.
That was a good
lie.
segue, and I don't know. Can I show him the video? Because I don't think I've showed him
You
yet.
did show me the video.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, did I send it to you? Or no?
Snapchat is a beautiful thing.
That's right. Snapchat did it to you.
Hey, we've got a couple questions real fast before we move into this.
Okay.
Jamie said, Alex, what type of music do you like?
Ooh, there's not enough time. I, right now, love a band called Wolfpack. To say I love them is probably an understatement. I'm in love with their music. You need to check them out right this second. So Wolfpack, Caleb Hawley. It's a lot of like 60s and 70s soul sounding music, but like from today. And there are just a lot of really talented musicians out there right now.
Wolfpack.
Wolfpack.
You know what season it's getting to? Fleet Foxes too.
I do like Fleet Foxes.
They're a great band.
That's our camping music.
Yeah. And Alt J and Fleet Foxes.
Yeah.
You're not so much of an Alt J.
I don't like Alt J at all.
Oh, so 0%.
So let's just pull that one back there. Let's
All right.
take that off the record.
Control D on Alt J.
Well played.
Deselect them completely, yeah.
Any other questions?
And also, Tyler Time Pulse Gillette said, take me skydiving, Connor.
Hey, Tyler! Okay, so everyone, you should go look him up because he's an awesome ninja. And tomorrow is his ninja. He's on the show. He's a dude. He's
Like
freaking
American
strong.
Ninja Warrior, the actual show.
Yeah. And he's so strong, and he's part of the ATL Ninja crew, and he's competing on Ninja versus Ninja tomorrow at, sorry, I don't know the time, Tyler. I think 9, maybe 8. It's just Ninja versus Ninja. So
Something you can figure it out.
yeah, and I'll definitely take you skydiving with me. You know that. I've asked you to go with me a million times.
Why haven't you taken him up on that?
Yeah, come on, Tyler.
Come on,
I'm
dude.
trying to get all the ninjas to come together and come skydiving.
You're better than that, Tyler. No, really do it.
Yeah, no, it's I've taken both of you.
Yes.
I've taken both of you guys skydiving, and it was a great time, except for, you know,
We had a rough start.
we had a rough start with you seeing the guy get
it was a
injured,
great time.
and then people got really drunk at the bonfire that night, and you know, were a little aggressive with some of the insults, but that happens. Skydivers are kind of like that, but for the most part, it's always
fun.
like the actual jump itself was,
No, it was killer.
yeah.
I had more snot than I have in my face right now, and it like all got pushed to the back of my head, and I landed, and they're like, was it fun? I'm just like, yeah. And I didn't expect it to sound like that. So the second it happened, it surprised me, and it surprised, of course, the guy who was on my tandem. And I'm like twice his size, and so I'm just like wrestling, like going like, trying to get.
David?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like that sound effect right there needs to be saved. That,
Have it on a soundboard.
yep, just a soundboard that goes whenever things are, how was that? Yeah. That's awesome. But to go back to my amazing segue that's now not so cool, Connor is also a very avid rock climber.
I want to say that I climb a little. I'm not like I don't go every day like a lot of
But
people.
you're
you know,
probably
Let's
better
say
than
this.
most people.
Connor loves a lot of things, but it takes someone truly special to really fall for it the way he did. Segue back to it.
That was amazing.
That was good. That was good. So I guess we're diving into this.
We're diving?
Diving into this.
Head first?
No, back first actually.
Is this a leading question?
Let's just lead you into this, and
Let's not belabor the point.
try to hang on tight while I explain this. So we're climbing at a gym out in Kennesaw, and it's me and a lot of the American Ninja Warrior crew.
It's also like one of the tallest gyms. Like it's taller than your
The top
average.
of the wall is, I think it's 60 feet is the height of the wall there. So yeah, they have a pretty sweet lead wall, and it's like this overhang. And so climbing,
Clarify what lead climbing is for people who don't know.
lead climbing is, so if you typically go to a gym, they're like, oh, do you want to climb? They'll put you on something called top rope, and that means that you have a person at the bottom, and then you run a rope from that person at the bottom all the way to the top, and then back down to the climber. And so lead climbing is the opposite, to where the rope is just between the climber and the belayer, and then you clip the rope in as you go. So if you end up...
They're like anchor points along the way.
Right, and so they're feeding you rope. Instead of taking rope away, they're feeding you rope and giving you slack. So if you take a fall, you free fall the distance of the rope and however far above you are from your last clip. So say you're 10 feet above your last clip, and they have out like 5 feet of rope. So you're going to take 20 feet from falling just from the above the clip, and then the below the clip, and then the extra 5 feet of the rope that they have out. So
Because gravity.
gravity, yeah, it's if you're in space, it
Heard of
doesn't
it?
happen as much, but it's so we're all there climbing. It's probably a group of like 10 of us, and there's this guy, let's call him I don't know, Ellie. He was climbing right before me and on the same route, and he took a fall on this. It's the very last one of the very last moves of the climb, so about 55 feet up, and that's my friend Joey was belaying him. And so then I was like, I want to get on this route. And so he was like, okay, I'll belay you. So I start climbing it.
But the belayer, for people who don't know that term, is the guy that's making sure you're safe and holding the rope at the bottom.
The person you trust with keeping you from dropping.
Yeah, it's really all there is to stop you from dropping. And so I start the climb.
Unless
and
you
I
don't
get
fall.
I was about to say,
yeah, I should.
is it stronger. All that will keep you from falling, Connor?
Being stronger would have. But so I get to that point to where he fell, and also Joey climbed it too, and he also fell right. I'm not sure, but
right
he
at
fell,
the top.
Right, yeah. That's the hardest part. Your arms are pumped out. You're dying. So I take a break, and I lean back, and I was like, all right, take. And when we say take, that means take the slack out of the rope so I can lean back and rest. And so I do that, and I rest for a little bit. I'm looking up at it. I'm trying to get psyched up for it. I look down, and I tell him that I'm climbing on, and he gives me the okay. So I continue to climb. I go for the move, and I slip. And luckily, I'm used to the free fall, so I didn't tense up or get very nervous because, I've taken, these are called whippers. When you take a big fall, like you're above your last clip, there's a lot of slack out, you take a whip.
And you're supposed to kind of push off the wall, right?
If
like
you
to
can.
kind of create an arc.
Wasn't it kind of an overhang, though?
Yeah, it is an overhang wall. So.
Gotcha. So you were just going to fall right in. You weren't going to
Yeah,
slam against the wall.
Yeah, no. I wasn't, there wasn't really a
At
fear.
worst, you should have just really yanked your harness and it probably would have hurt your groin and wherever your
Usually not
harness
too
is
bad.
attached.
They're stretching the rope and you know how to take. Yeah. So I'm leaning back and I'm super relaxed. I'm just waiting for it to catch, and then like 10, 15 feet, I'm like, this is a pretty big whip. 25, 30 feet, I was like, dang, he had a lot of slack left out. And then I heard the rope zipping through the device that you use to belay. This one was an ATC, which doesn't have an auto braking system, which would have been really nice. So 55 feet later, hit the ground.
That would have been agreeable
Yes.
if you had one of those.
And
Press sick pun.
but so yeah, the ambulance gets called. I don't move. It's funny because I knew I shouldn't move because instantly my back and neck hurt really bad.
So you free falled 55 feet to the ground.
Yeah, I think we just kind of went past that point.
yeah,
Because you're like, it was at 30 feet and I was thinking this, but this all happened within a matter of 1 second, essentially.
yeah, it was slowed down a little bit just from the friction of the clips and the rope, but his hands were off the rope. Which, if anyone who listens to this that climbs, like there's one rule, and it's that you don't let go of the rope.
Or at least your brake hand. Like you should always have two hands, if not the one.
Yeah, and so he, right as I'm going for that major move, you can see in the security footage that he looks down and isn't watching me, and his arms go kind of like this, and the rope gets ripped out, and then so it yanked him towards the wall. So I had that little bit to break me for a little bit, and then it went kind of back to free fall. And then there's a random pad there about 10 inches thick. We didn't place it there, and there's already like gymnastics floor, so it's like that springboard kind of material.
That was amazing.
And but there's an extra pad there that we didn't put there that I barely hit the corner of. Like my head, neck, and back didn't hit it, but my legs and butt hit it, and that's what hit first, luckily. So that probably helped me out a lot. And so I managed to bounce and scream at him, "What the fuck was that, man?" And then I just looked up and kind of in shock that I was I thought I was okay in that alone, and I was unconscious and everything, and I was like, holy shit, that was the top clip. And so ambulance shows up, and I was like, listen, I can't afford an ambulance, I'm not going. And they're like, you're going. And I was like, no, I can't afford it. And they're like, no, you're fucking going. You don't
You understand, we need you to go because it's been a slow day and we just need the business right now.
And they told me, they said, look up, Connor. And I wasn't allowed to move my neck, so I was forced to look up the whole time. And I was like, that sucked because I bit through my tongue. And so my mouth is filling with blood, and I'm not allowed to drink water yet. And so I had no way of spitting this blood out. So I was like,
what did the employees do when that happened? Did people see it happen, or did they just hear you scream?
I didn't scream.
I know you didn't scream, but you yelled at him.
Oh yeah, no, everyone heard that. Everybody in the gym heard that. But and then
did everyone kind of stop what they were doing and
people heard the zipping of the ATC and then the thud, and they're only 3 or 4 people in the gym saw it actually happen. Everyone else was climbing, but they were explaining it. And now I have the security footage that they gave to me, but no, the staff was amazing. They called the paramedics. They did their job super well, and I'm very happy with the gym and how they handled it, and that they're one of the few gyms that have the safety floors on the lead wall, because a lot of gyms don't do that, because who would be who would fuck that up? Who would let go of the
Right.
brake hand? You know, they usually don't have to worry about it.
Lead climbing is very intimidating as a belayer. Like, every time I've belayed lead, I kind of freak out a little bit because it's pretty, scarier because of the distance that you can fall.
And you get lifted off the ground with lead climbing. Like, if somebody takes a fall, y'all are both ending up in the air, like this pendulum effect. So, but, you know, he had his license. He had done it for months upon months. And we're not going to go into too much of the aftermath yet. Just because of, you know.
It hasn't been fully resolved.
Yeah, I don't want to go out saying too much. And but yeah, so that was quite the experience. Luckily, I didn't break anything major that they don't, you know, they said that I might have minor fractures, like my neck and my whole right side is still trying to recover. And
It's been, what, a month almost?
Yeah, it's happened February 15th. So
wow.
Yeah.
It's been over a month, wow.
Yeah. And
that's my brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Cam.
Hey. I tried to come up with a pun there, didn't have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so went to the emergency room at trauma, and they're like, I'm making jokes in the ambulance and like asking for the aux cable, and so like at this point, like I felt good. I was like, I'm just happy to be alive. Like I didn't like, and so they take me there, and they're like, you know, what happened? And first they see me on the screen, and they go, wow, they're really worried about you as they're wheeling me in. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, level 1, like. But apparently, if you fall over a certain distance, no matter what, you have to go to that. And but yeah, I just ended up walking out of there, and then I was like, I feel way better than I should. The next morning, they're like, you're gonna feel terrible because the amount of adrenaline and like shock that your body just went through. Oh my god. Like that was bad, but yeah.
What was the next morning like? Like waking up, could you move?
Dude, it hurt. It hurt really bad. Like it seriously felt like.
What was hurting?
Everything. Because what they explained to me was that like the adrenaline, like it goes through my whole body. So like the physical pain of hitting my neck and my back, that hurt. Like that had the sharp pain where I could tell like things were out of whack and my muscles were tight. But everything else felt like
my back. Everything is out of whack.
There you go. That's a kid-friendly version.
There's a Kids Bop version.
But imagine going through like, you know those workouts that you have where you like cramp up super bad and the next day you know like you can feel that muscle cramped and like you're like holy shit, like that was like every muscle. Wow. Like it hurt so bad.
I think the worst part as somebody who knows Connor is we all know that he does shit like this all the time.
He's an extreme dude.
So then he sends out a picture of him on a stretcher and it's just his face looking like, oh,
with a
what did I do?
And
he just says, oops.
No, whoops.
Whoops. Sorry that I screwed that up.
Bro. Whoops is better than oops.
So I see that and like all my friends that like, my brother reaches out to me, my girlfriend reaches out to me. She's like, did Connor have a skydiving accident? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to find out, guys. Hold on, just give me a minute. I don't know. Maybe Connor's not okay, guys. And then turns out,
you're probably like traumatized from that bouncing
I saw
incident.
the guy hit the ground. I'm like, oh, Connor did it too. He had to one up that guy. Oh no, he bounced 12 feet.
Yeah, no, I called my girlfriend to ask. So I go, hey, like, don't worry about anything. I'm fine. My phone's about to die, but I'm on the way to the ER.
My phone's gonna die, but I'm not.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh. See, hey, silver lining. And so, yeah, it was. Yeah, I posted that just joking around, and like you said, most people know like I do stuff, but like out of the things that I do, like you don't expect to get hurt rock climbing in the gym.
No.
Like that's where you don't expect to get hurt.
Well, my dad fell 45 something.
That's rappelling, right?
Yeah, rappelling when I was like 8.
Whoa.
So normally he's really all about safety. He puts on a prusik, which is like the knot. I know you know, but you might not know. He puts on like a safety knot all the time. He's so safety oriented. And I was 8 years old. I had just received a new harness for Christmas. I went out with my brother and my dad, and we went rappelling. And I was going off the face first. I had somebody on belay. My dad was like, oh, well, I don't want Alex to go down by himself. So he just threw on an ATC and starts belaying right next to me.
ATC is the device that does not have the braking.
Yeah, my dad knows too. So my foot,
him and I are well aware.
My foot slipped, but I was okay, obviously, because since I have somebody to catch me. And it's just a 4-foot face and then just a drop off. And my dad, as best as my 8-year-old recollection can offer, is he reached up to like catch me, and he didn't catch himself. So he fell the full weight and he broke his ankle, shattered his tailbone, like burnt. He had rope burns down to down to the bone in his hands where he grabbed the rope. Doesn't have fingerprints still.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I think he broke some ribs. But
Dude, he should join like an organization or something where you need to do secret.
you can't talk about that on live.
We're gonna have to.
So he really doesn't have fingerprints. Like it's scarred over.
Yeah, it's all scarred over, so it just looks like shiny scar tissue.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to share this because I thought it was funny. I took in Boy Scouts. There's a fingerprinting merit badge, and in Boy Scout camp you can take it in one day. It's like one of the easiest ones to get because you can just literally get it in one day. And this guy, to try to fool the government, he cut little triangles of his fingerprint out and like rearranged them back onto his finger. And but the funny thing is, okay, no one else on planet Earth has this triangular fingerprint, so it's obviously him. And then also they were able to just computers had just started to be able to do that type of thing where you could read. So they literally just like photoshopped the triangles and put it back, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the guy.
Well, he tried. You got to give him that.
And he
puts the try in triangle.
and it was just like a funny story from that because they were basically like, yeah, the fingerprint, there's not really much way around it unless you like burn them off or something crazy.
Yeah, you gotta try to find a loophole. He just couldn't put his finger on it.
Jamie Huntington.
Yes, Jamie was in my Boy Scout troop and
he had the same one.
He got the same one. It was the easiest one. If you went to Boy Scout camp and you didn't get fingerprinting, what were you doing? Because
it left a good impression.
That was good. I like that.
Wasn't.
I like that. Also, your brother said thanks for the birthday shout out.
He also asked if skydiving's scary. Yes, that's why you do it. And it gets less scary, but it's always like that's it. That's the best part, is getting over the fear and jumping anyways. And like, if I still have, there's a guy at the drop zone who throws up every single time before his first jump. He throws up just out of nerves, and that's his thing. And then he's ready to go for the day. So the first jump, especially if you haven't jumped in like a couple days or even like weeks, like the first jump, I'm still pretty much just as scared as I was going through like when I was going through my student program. And that's what makes landing and like that much better and that much more like fear is part of it, which makes it so much fun.
Yeah.
But so I've heard a lot of people say that you go through skydiving, like you have this new lease on life where you can appreciate everything more. I landed and I was like, that was cool. And I had all these expectations. Back to the front of the beginning of our whole conversation. Expectations. I thought it was going to be this wonderful transformative experience, and I guess it just wasn't for me because I thought it was cool and interesting, and I kind of like landed, stood up, and everybody else was like, wasn't that incredible? I was like, it was neat.
That's how my dad was with it.
It was neat.
So, like
my brother too.
Yeah, some people don't have that same, because you can't expect everybody to have the same reaction, especially if you have a high expectation of it. But if you put this idea that it's going to be like for me, it was the most incredible experience of my life.
Oh, it was awesome.
And once I landed, I said, there's no way I can live without doing this forever. Like,
that's where we diverge.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's...
The other thing for me is like, the thing that I constantly was thinking about was, okay, I'm attached to a dude who's done this a million times.
Once you do it alone, also,
that's what I was going to say. I think I would be... I wasn't scared. Like, I honestly wasn't. I was nervous a little bit. Like I was thinking, okay, I'm about to jump out of a plane. This is kind of crazy, but I actually enjoy like thrills and stuff. Like I love roller coasters. I love, heights don't bother me as much as the normal person, I guess. So that didn't really freak me out that much. And it was really cool. I enjoyed the experience, but I think the first time that I would jump out alone, I would be very, very scared that I would mess something up or not know where to land, like land in the wrong thing, or land in a tree, or like I'd be freaking out about that and messing up my landing and accidentally pulling my flaring too early and then falling 10 or 15 feet or whatever and bouncing or whatever.
It's a lot like the first time you drive a car by yourself and you're like, whoa, I want to stay in between the lines, and when do I hit my blinker at the right time? But you become more and more relaxed with it, but you just like driving a car, you don't want to become too relaxed with it.
Yeah.
Because that's when you start driving with your foot up on the dash while eating a sandwich and texting, and then... Yeah, so there's a...
Very true. Hopefully there's no one watching this Facebook Live while they're driving right now, but...
Yeah, true. If they are just listening.
Yeah, hopefully just listening.
Yeah, which you could also listen to Alex Guthrie music, which they haven't had an update since your big...
Is it me?
Dude, you know it.
Dude, I really do enjoy that song.
Thanks, man.
I did. The first time you came over and you showed it to me as you were writing it, and you caught me whistling it like 3 times that day. And like you played it like for me that once, and then I kept whistling through it. It just got it's so catchy and got ingrained in my head. Yeah, so mission accomplished.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys liked it.
You posted a preview of it, I think, like a long time ago, and then I went to your show and you played it.
Yes.
And so it's such a catchy chorus and everything.
Thanks,
so
man.
I've been liking that song, and then it finally officially was released. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is great.
I'm so happy that you enjoyed it, because I had been saying since I think June or July, we're 1 month away from releasing it, and then we released it in February.
What is the holdup on that kind of stuff?
Well, there's the issue of funding, because it's expensive.
Studio time's expensive.
Very expensive. But more than that, it was where do we record it? We want to go somewhere new and record with somebody new who can offer all sorts of cool opinions and ideas on what we should do with it. Where should we take it? What do we do to make it not just another one of our songs from the previous record?
Well, you also have the issue with this, especially the newer songs you're coming out with. You have a new standard and expectation to hold up to now that you have that after that Jennifer Hudson commercial. What? Oh, I thought you were okay. I thought you were like, don't talk about that. I was like, it's all over TV, man.
Dude, she doesn't know.
But you have this new fan, and so your show started selling out like crazy. And so when you start recording these new songs, I'm sure you're like, okay, there's a new standard that has to be upheld.
Yeah.
Because now there's a lot more pressure on because more people are listening.
And I know the people who already liked the music. So now we're trying to deal with new people liking the music, and you don't want to alienate the old crowd by playing something different, but you also don't want to just play the same thing over and over. And it's finding that balance is the stressful part that was crippling for a little bit, where everything I wrote was either exactly like stuff I had written before or so different that I didn't really feel like it was one of my songs. It was like I was writing something for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's something that is in the electronic music world is really, really interesting, because there's no lyrics or anything. And so if someone wants to change up their style, a lot of times they feel like they have to start releasing under a new alias or something. DJs,
I hadn't even thought about that.
DJs will create an alter ego that they'll DJ under to differentiate, okay, here's my old stuff that you know and like as a fan, and maybe you won't like this new stuff as much, so here's a new thing.
Kid Cudi did that with his name. He was Kid Cudi, then he was Wizard, then he changing his name up because they had it's almost like a completely different genre.
I didn't even know that either. That's probably why I don't follow Wizard. I'm just kidding. No, but that's what happened with, not to get too into the weeds with that stuff, but that's what happened with Marshmello. And now he's I
have no idea who that is to begin with.
That good, because he went way too mainstream and it sucks now. But anyways, he wears this marshmallow mask, but he was a different guy before. And
do you guys want s'more?
Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so he wears all white and he wears a mask. But what's interesting is he's American and he's a white dude. But his biggest fan base, is in India and Thailand and stuff.
Huh.
And it's because he's not associated with a certain race. He's a marshmallow. He's a character.
Yeah.
So his music transcends
Don't you think
diversity?
Don't you think they would choose a food that has more diverse colors than a marshmallow, though?
I don't know. They can't change it now.
Yeah, I know. True.
He's the burnt mellow. He's the s'more. Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, I didn't really want to talk about marshmallow, but it's just
that brings
kind of
up my next thing. I was thinking about going towards a more candy-oriented genre. So this
Alex,
is perfect.
Being the M&M with the.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Eminem, that's original.
I didn't even think about that.
Alex is going to be releasing children's music under Alex Gumdrop. But anyway, so you're saying it's challenging because you don't want to change your genres up too much, because you're you don't want to lose your fan base, but you also want to create music that you're passionate about, and you don't want to keep creating the same stuff.
Exactly. You want to have a challenge, but everything now is challenging. I definitely can't release more stuff that was like the last album, and finding that sweet spot has been for me. I'll write a song and then I like it. I'm thinking, how can I rework this so that it fits in this band?
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the other point of like getting burnt out. Is, a lot of people talk about bands selling out, which does happen. But a lot of times I think bands just get burnt out on writing the same exact sound and the same exact music. And so when a band comes out with a new album that sounds completely different than what, as long as they like it, then fucking great. Like you have to expect for them to get a burnout on writing one exact type of sound and music, and you should want them to change it
Everything
up.
should be a risk,
Yeah. So this next album that you're going to come out with is going to sound different-ish.
Different-ish. I mean, the first one was very much a folk album.
Yeah.
And
So good.
Thanks, man.
So good.
Thanks, dude. We were living together when I was recording that, right?
Yep.
That was good times.
Yeah, it was.
So,
it was a lot of fun.
but this new music is a lot more like 60s and 70s soul. Like what I was telling
Jamie
earlier. Yeah, so Wolfpack is a band that's a huge influence for me right now. I just got to meet some of the members last week. They came through town with one of the guys' side projects, and we got to chat music. I got to shoot some pictures for them. Thankfully, I was the only person there, so I didn't feel the competition that you were talking about. I'm like, all right, nobody else has a camera. Cool. I'm
gonna whip
benchmark.
mine out.
So I got to meet them, and that was like a cool, kind of inspirational meeting. I got to meet some of my heroes, but we're trying to go for a new take on the old sound, which is I think what everybody's doing right now. And there's so many good artists out that are doing that now you gotta go on their sound and make the new version of their new version of the old sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I think what's good about you is that like I never worry about you like writing music that just because somebody else likes it. You know, like you've always written music that, and I mean, just like if people haven't listened to your songs, like those are like things about your life, and or my
roommates' lives,
or your roommates' lives. Yeah. And but that's I think that's a refreshing thing that your fans hopefully notice because
what's your opinion on people that don't write their own stuff?
I mean, you can have amazing musicians that don't write their own stuff. I think that nobody distinguishes, like if you look at the top charts, it doesn't say like Katy Perry, singer-songwriter. Like it could be 1,000 other people that did it and she just happened to sing it, at which point she's a glorified like karaoke artist, right?
Yeah.
And I think that she's still incredibly talented and maybe she has a part in it. I'm not trying to pick on Katy Perry. I love Katy Perry's music actually.
Yeah. It's catchy.
Those are two different skills.
Yeah, they're two different skills.
Music and playing music are two different skills.
But a public speaker could be an author and everybody knows it because you say public speaker and author.
Yeah.
And you could be just an author who writes for other people. You're a ghostwriter. And these things are all really clearly stated what you do. If you watch SNL, they're the actors and then they're the writers. And it's very clear who does what. With music, we're all in the same category and you're being judged against people who maybe had a team of 20 who wrote their songs and you're like, well, I wrote mine. Do you like mine as much?
Yeah.
And they don't weigh them equally.
Yeah. It's funny to see some of those top charts and especially some of the rap songs where it's just, you look at the lyrics and it's just 4 words in different orders with some bird noises and you see written by in 8 people's names.
Yeah. We're working on some bird noises. Keep an eye out.
Bird beats.
Yeah. And so it's...
Waka flocka.
Hey.
That was good.
Yeah. But yeah.
Your favorite rapper by far.
Oh man, you were there that night, right?
Yeah, I wasn't. He performed at GCSU.
I did not perform.
No,
I went to
Waka Flocka did.
Okay, yeah.
What was this? I'm not.
Waka Flocka. If you're watching, you're awful.
What up, Waka?
I saw Waka Flocka, and to say he was
imagine you at a Waka Flocka.
I couldn't either, and I wish that I hadn't had to live through it. It was so bad. Like he just sat there and went yeah. While he played a track of pre-recorded with him rapping. Like he didn't lip sync. He just stood there while his own track played, and he had a hype man who just played gun noises. So it was the gun guy, and then Waka just going, yeah, for like an hour. And I stayed for the whole thing.
See, that's when you have to differentiate between what is this? Is this a weird performance? Is this a concert? Is this a show? Is this because at the end of the day, if people are entertained by it, cool.
I'm not saying that they aren't all entertaining. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, they're all forms of entertainment.
For sure.
But
as for musical ability and talent,
right.
Yeah.
Waka Flocka
Yeah.
is not the height of that.
And for this is it's on a I agree on a different side of things. It's kind of similar to when people are like, oh, you make videos, or like, oh, you make podcasts. It's like there's all different types of genres that you could make. You could make videos that are goofy little vines, or you could
watch. All of us have very different styles of videos. Mine are very action sports based. And then you have the podcast and then some of the interviews and like but y'all's are a little bit more similar. But yeah,
vloggy
vloggy.
It's weird how I kind of have developed a style, even though I don't.
Nobody sets out
so if
to.
somebody comes
I'm
to
not
me and
setting out
says,
to
"Hey,
do it."
can you make me a video?" It's like, well, depends. Like, what do you want the vibe of it to be? Because like
Yeah.
it's like, no offense, but if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I want like this badass skydiving video or like an action sports video," that you haven't done many of those. But if somebody wanted me to do like the turntable yoga thing, or like a short like saving a turtle, like you can make anything interesting.
I'm the turtle guy.
Or even
well, you make
making a
anything
video.
interesting. Like you can do a video on doing the dishes, and I'm going to watch it and be so captivated and be like, "This is fucking awesome."
I almost did a video on me doing the dishes today. We didn't talk about that or plan it.
Now you have to.
Beanie Babies and Furbies.
Babies and Furbies. I hope Cameron's still watching.
But
I don't think he likes you that
yeah,
much.
like another thing with to go on that same thing with podcasts, there's all different people I think still, when you say the word podcast, they have an idea in their head, but it might not be the same idea that you have.
Right.
Like for me, when I think of a podcast, I enjoy like a conversational podcast, but there's also podcasts that are like 20-minute informational things teaching you how to do something. And then there's a podcast that's a music podcast where they're just reviewing songs. They play a song and then they review it and say what they like and say what they didn't like. Or there's
the questionnaire ones where like Tim Ferriss is very questionnaire where you can tell that he's like written down questions and he's writing them those answer. Great.
Yeah.
Next question.
And that's very Tim Ferriss because he's very type A. He's very straightforward. Let's analyze. Let's break this down. And for me, that's not as fun for me. I kind of like the idea of going off the cuff and not knowing what's going to happen. Even though it might not always end up amazing. It might not be the best thing ever. There might be an awkward silence or whatever. But I think I'm confident enough in myself to keep a conversation going that I'm not too...
I was a little nervous the
about it.
first time that we were going to do a podcast, and I was just
Yeah,
like,
me
oh,
too.
and I was like, I'm going to be so awkward, but you do like a good job at keeping the conversation going, and those are the ones that are interesting to listen to because then you get to, instead of just sitting and answering questions or something like that, you like if you have once again you have no expectations, so you let it all like natural thoughts, and then you get to speak about like just naturally without a plan, and I think that's why we like the Joe Rogan experience. Like we all collectively like that one quite a lot because. Not only is it just, we don't have a plan, let's fucking dive into this, let's just start talking. It's that, but the guests are all over the map. Like with you, your guests are all over the map. This isn't a business management podcast. It's not a music podcast. It's not a sports podcast. Can you stop that, please? That's good.
I'm trying.
Really rude.
It's appalling.
It's appalling, dude. It really is appalling.
Okay, that was fun of the night.
That was really good.
But yeah, I think that's what makes it so much, because podcasts are starting to take off.
For sure.
Not starting. I mean, they've been a thing for a while.
They've been a thing, and
but they are becoming more commonplace.
For sure. I think the thing that's, for me, that makes the most sense is it's passive. So it doesn't have to be as polished and let's edit it down to the most crucial information and edit out all the ums and likes and blah, 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 because it's not taking all of your attention. You can be driving, you can be cooking, you can be working out, and you're just consuming. And actually, I think this is going to start happening more with live stream kind of stuff because it's almost like I've seen this happening on like Twitch with gaming and Facebook Live. We're on Facebook Live right now. People probably aren't paying too much attention to the video, to be honest, because it's long form. Like
Watch
they might
three
be,
guys sit on a couch and talk.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
it's cool to have the visual and be able to see. Maybe they don't know, because there's three guys, they might not know whose voice it is, so they might want to look and see, oh, that's Connor's voice or whatever. But, for me, I'm not super into gaming, so Twitch never really appealed to me that much. It's like a gaming live streaming thing. But they, a while ago, introduced a section called IRL, which is in real life. And like Casey Neistat started vlogging, or started Twitch streaming, and I found myself watching the whole thing. because it was almost like a podcast where he was just talking and reading the comments and and it was like long form Casey.
That's really
where
interesting.
normally you get like a 15-minute Casey, which is highly edited and all this stuff, and it's great, but then you're done. And I felt like I was almost hanging out with him, and I really, really enjoyed that. And I'm like, dang, I never would have imagined that I would watch an 1.5 hour long Casey stream. But I didn't really watch the whole thing. I had my Bluetooth headphones in, I had my phone down, I was doing other things, but I was still paying attention.
Well, I think it's really reassuring for people to watch, especially live, because you know it's not edited, and we live in a society where everything, especially in terms of entertainment, that gets to our ears, eyes, it's
polished.
It's all very polished, and it takes it takes a lot of the humanity out of it.
I'm so sorry.
And so it might be like a breath of fresh air. It's, you know, if I stutter or if I say something stupid or make a bad, or if there's an awkward silence, that's real. And
absolutely.
we need a little bit more real, because all we're being fed is all this bullshit of like what we should be, what life should be like, even though we know it's just overly polished.
Well, that's why podcasts became popular. It was an alternative to like traditional radio, where you got people who go, "Hey, you're listening to this in the morning," and it's like follows a script. Yeah, exactly.
Wacky and zany news. And I think it's because they have to cast a broad net. They have to cast like a very broad net and capture everyone who's commuting.
Yeah, well,
You know?
it didn't feel like real life, because they've got these ridiculous sounds. They've got like a script that they're following, and they're trying to ask leading questions to get people to fall into what they exactly want them to say. So it loses anything that's human.
Well,
and that's why podcasts became popular. It was like people getting to hear radio, but like freshly.
Yeah,
And in a relatable way.
And it took a little bit of time, because I mean, all this technology kind of like came out of nowhere, between like the amount of entertainment that we have nowadays and just being constantly fed all this. And it took a little bit of time for us to go, you know, a lot of this is kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you start to see how fine tuned it is, and you're like, this isn't reality. Like,
It's
the
all
fact
designed
that-
for sound
The fact that
bites.
it's still
Yeah,
called like
absolutely.
reality TV, like it's
Ooh.
just like, and so we're finally at that stage, I think, of the technology that people are going, okay, you know, time to either take a step back, or at least let's get some forms of entertainment that have human nature behind it, instead of trying to take out any and every little tiny, not bad thing about human nature, but all the little hiccups that come naturally with human nature. Like,
Exactly.
if you remove those and you take out, like, you can't remove those.
And I
because-
think our generation in particular has a pretty good handle on that. Like, I think a lot of people now are posting a lot more things on Instagram, like, hey, real post. Like, people will say that, like, in all caps, real post, warning, you know, and like, I'm not wearing makeup or whatever. And it's cool because it's empowering, but it is really cool because to take down your guard and be vulnerable in front of your peers and fans and whoever is amazing, because in the past we didn't get any of that. Like, you really think anyone ever got to know who, you know, the Beatles truly were? Or,
No, absolutely
You know,
not.
like you didn't have any kind of connection. The only time you saw them speak was like in an interview that was 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, like, that's one of my favorite things about Instagram Live, is that Instagram Live, you can't ever watch it again. Like, it's just gone. I love that. I think that makes it...
Well, you can save it for
watch it
24
again.
hours, but after 24 hours, it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it doesn't like
it's
live.
not like it's not a video that you can share or whatever. It lives there, and then it's gone. And if you screw up, there's not, like, even with Facebook Live, none of us want to say the wrong thing, because it'll be there for a while.
Yeah.
And people can go back and check it out for a while and share it for a while. And there's none of that baggage that comes along with Facebook Live or the Instagram Live that I
Live,
love.
yeah.
I just did it for the first time, like, backstage in my last show. We were just doing our vocal warm-ups, and we threw it up, and it was so much fun.
Winery? City Winery,
Yeah.
right?
You threw up because you were like
No,
really nervous.
We threw it up.
I'm just joking.
I threw it up
put on
'cause I was
Instagram Live and-
terrified.
How was that show?
Fantastic. Like, I personally...
Sold out. Yeah.
Not sold out. It was
No?
a Tuesday in the middle of spring
I couldn't
break.
make it, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, good, man. So no, we hit the number that we were trying to hit. We're happy about
Nice.
that. Obviously, we would have loved to have sold it out, but still, my favorite place in Atlanta is Eddie's Attic. You've been
that
there.
place is
You've
so
been there.
much fun.
It's awesome.
Hard to sell that place out. I'm just kidding.
It's a small room.
Yeah. But
It's
it's
a
really
perfect
cool.
It's very personable. Like,
It's great.
It's everything that we're talking about that we love about media in a venue,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
the new media. It's,
Yeah.
You're on the same level. There's like
Yeah.
the stage is like. Is it a stage? Is it
It might be like a
elevated?
6-inch elevation.
Yeah, it's very, very slight elevation. So it's very small.
Yeah, no, it's just like the closest thing to sitting in somebody's living room and hearing what they actually want to play for you. Like, it doesn't feel rehearsed. It just feels like, hey, we're gonna jam. Hope you like it.
Yeah, I love that too. Speaking of shows, you've been touring a lot, right?
We've been in town. Overall, yes. We've been trying to get that new music out lately. So
awesome.
that's been the priority lately. We got a lot of touring coming this summer, though.
Nice.
A lot of Great Lakes area.
So last time you were on the podcast, it was like right around the whole Jennifer Hudson stuff.
Right.
What has fill us all in? What's happened?
Well, I will fill you in. We have had so much media coverage, I don't even know what to do with it. I have been on more morning shows than I ever thought I would be on. Oh my gosh, let's take a minute.
Oh yes, let's talk about that, please.
So I was going on a TV show, morning show in Atlanta, and John Guthrie sent me a text.
Shout out, John.
Yeah, that was it.
The little hand game, everybody.
With the little,
This
it's
one.
like the OK sign.
the
You're trying to
three-
get people to look at the circle hand thing.
So we're in a group chat, and John
the goal
Guthrie.
of the game is to get people to look at this symbol. A lot of people don't know that, and my friends do, and that's all I needed. Because I got on live TV and finished my song and then held my pick like this by my guitar, and then I went into Real Talk, where they have, it's actually a really fun segment. We do a round table discussion, and I sat with my hand like this for like 20 minutes, and I was like picking things off my jacket like this.
I wonder how many people noticed it besides like just your friends and stuff.
I got tagged by a few random people I'd never met on Instagram and Facebook.
You're like, wow, that's pretty funny. How was the TV thing? Because like we were just talking about how like, oh, traditional media is so fake and blah blah blah. Like, was it pretty real? Like, how did it feel?
That local TV is a lot more real than the national TV. I would assume. I still haven't done like a national Good Morning America kind of thing. But for the local people,
Why not, bro?
Because I'm lazy. No, like the people
I haven't
over
stood in line long enough.
at 11 Alive, and I mean they're really cool people who are
Nice.
about as genuine as you could hope. It
Yeah.
was everything that I wanted it to be and more.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good. And in the wake of the Jennifer Hudson stuff, do people recognize you, like in the street and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously slowed down in the past few months since it stopped airing, but there was a period where I was going to Chicago every couple of months for shows and to go meet up with, I got to go to Jennifer Hudson's birthday party and sing, and I went to her.
That's so awesome.
You were at Ninja Night, and
Yeah.
I remember. So we all go to this ninja gym, and so he comes training with me, and then I see his phone ringing. And I go, Alex, your phone's ringing. He's like, who is it? I was like down. Oh fuck! It's Jennifer Hudson, man. He's like, oh cool. Like, ran on over. That was the night of your commercial release, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think
I
so.
think
Or
it was.
the night of the night
It was,
after.
it
It was like
was.
y'all's first time talking since the.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Just
That's been
casual
funny.
Jennifer
yeah,
Hudson.
just
hanging out.
casually. Just,
Well, it's really fun because now she's actually like a friend,
That's so cool, man.
so it feels weird to even talk about it. 'Cause
yeah.
Now I feel like
because you're like now I'm just talking about a friendship.
like I hope she doesn't see this
Like
because
it's a
now I
novelty.
feel like
She's
I'm blushing
probably
now.
watching.
She's probably there's
She's
three of them.
commenting.
there's three.
Odds are.
One of those probably Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer comments.
How amazing would that be?
Oh,
What
I
a
would-
lovely day, fellas.
Oh man.
Or
No, but
going
seriously,
back to
that's
the,
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in Chicago, like my Uber driver recognized me and my waiter recognized me, some people at the airport. It was
Really?
weird. I felt like I couldn't do anything wrong. Like I just wanted to walk around in my best suit and like always
How do
have
you-
a smile on.
How do you think like Tom Cruise feels?
Dude,
like,
Well, insane.
Tom Cruise. It was a bad one to
Brad
jump to.
Pitt or
Tom Cruise is probably like, I'm not even gonna like throw anything out about Scientology because they're probably gonna find me.
thinking something about aliens and Lord Xenu or something. At all
Xenu.
times.
Xenu, actually.
Xenu.
Everybody thinks it's
XE.
Xenu, but I listened to a 9-hour podcast on Scientology.
Wow,
Yeah, they-
dedication.
Yeah, it's called Ono Ross.
Doesn't he
Ono
wear like a
Ross
giant
Akari.
pendant too because he's like level whatever in Scientology?
I don't think
Well,
so,
they- well,
but I
the-
hope so.
I listened
Has,
to
like, gold, like big golden plates.
I listened to the podcast with Leah Remini, the
I
one
did as
on
well.
Joe Rogan,
Yep.
and she was talking about how there's actually like
She's the one who got out of the.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
and
I've
then
been meaning to
also
watch that one.
L. Ron Hubbard's
Like granddaughter.
All hail.
someone else. I don't know. The main dude, his dad was on the podcast too, on Joe Rogan's podcast. But anyways, very fascinating stuff. But they have like a famous person like group of Scientologists that are like treated differently than the common folk because they're almost like a megaphone for Scientology.
Oh, of course.
And they donate a lot of money. I think
You have to. It's part of the religion.
I think
like,
that they disclosed that that Tom Cruise has, I think, like 42 million he's donated or something absurd.
and apparently, like in LA, Scientology is one of the #1 owners of real estate. They just buy up buildings. They have so much money. And they're tax-free.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's ridiculous.
Not to go. Sorry, I brought up Tom Cruise, but you were saying you got recognized all the time, and you just felt like you couldn't do.
Well, it was
do no wrong.
It was so exciting, obviously, to go from obscurity to like Z-level celebrity.
To go to a city that you don't live in.
Right.
Start seeing billboards of yourself. Just like,
It was
wow.
it was really cool. And when I landed, my first time going back to Chicago after the commercial came out, I landed and I was taking an Uber to my hotel, and we passed a billboard, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at that!" And the guy was like, "What?" Like, it's okay. We don't know each other. Never mind.
That was me on the billboard.
He did
it's
not
gone.
recognize it at all, and I was super let down. But it was really exciting. It's still exciting. It's
Was it weird, like ever hearing? Because I was at the dentist. This is one of the weirder times where I saw the commercial or heard the commercial. I was at the dentist, and it came on while this lady was like in my mouth, and I was like, "Hey, my hand, Alex!" Like, and she's like, "Why?" But,
She's like, turn down the laughing gas.
No, but it was like really exciting because I was just thinking, I was just like, when you wake up in the morning, and I'm just like listening to it. I'm like, wait a second, I know that guy. That's Alex.
Yeah, well, I'd say now the most relevant thing I feel towards the commercial is I've got to do more, because that can't be the peak.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
That has to be the gunpowder to take off. Because
Yeah,
it has been thus far.
It's helped immensely, and so many cool things have happened from it. We've got a couple of different labels interested. I can't talk more about that, but labels are interested. They've
exciting.
reached out to us. We're working with some more interesting producers. I've made more friends that I never thought that I get to work with.
That's so
through this.
cool.
But yeah, I don't want to have like my musical legacy be I did a commercial that one time,
telling
and
your
then
kids
like
about
I'm
it.
sitting like 10 years from now at a cubicle like, remember that? Alex, stop talking about it. Okay.
Do you want to watch it one more time?
Yeah, it's like the guy that like almost played college football.
Yeah,
like
That can't
what was
happen.
it? Uncle Rico. I could throw a football over the mountains.
throw a pigskin over the mountains. Yeah, and just
I could
always
have sold out the
reminiscing.
whole stadium if they gave me the chance.
That's one of the worst things in life is when you fall from a peak, you hit this level and then you never get back to it. That's one of the worst things because you got a taste of it but never got to really experience it,
And also back to like the imposter syndrome thing. I know so many musicians that could have done the exact same thing I did
Totally.
better, and I'm like, well, I mean, they should have gotten it right. And you second guess yourself. I still second guess. Is it me?
Is it something I
Well, see,
said?
it's easy for you to say that, but I mean, you deserve the shit out of it, and other people could have done a good job too, but not at the expense of you not doing it, because like you deserved more, like you deserve to make it, but even before that. So, you're being ultra humble about it, but like you put in a lot of work and effort into your music, and living with you, I saw that, and so it wasn't like one of these things. Because I remember telling, I misspoke when I was like, can you believe that he and this was about the financial, and I was like, can you believe that he got to do this? And like just like 2 days of recording, he got all of this, and my dad's like, that wasn't 2 days, that was decades of hard work finally paying off.
True.
And so you finally got somewhat of a payday that you deserved.
After a couple of years of like really having to plan out how am I going to drive to my mom's house to say hey, and also my dad's house this week. I wonder if I can do it.
As far as gas money, you're saying? Or?
Yeah, like I'd had 20 bucks, and I'd think like, all right, my car averages 21 miles to the gallon.
I remember
stretch
you
it this far.
I remember you saying like, I guess I'm busking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you being like, I guess I'm gonna try to go busking today and make some rent money, and now, I'm not like you're not whipping up in a Rolls
Definitely not
Royce or
rolling in it,
anything, but
I can afford to go to both parents' house this week.
you've proven to be able to make a living
I'm at least
off of
comfortable.
music.
Well,
you're a musician as a career now, and you can say that comfortably without having to be one of those people.
Yeah,
I'm a
absolutely.
musician who, but most musicians
Starving
have to
artist.
go through that stage of.
Of course. And if you don't, I mean, people always talk about, oh, you got lucky. Oh, you've got lucky and got that thing. But like you were saying, before, is you almost gave up on music. You got turned down from, American Idol or whatever, these things that you thought would get you to that next level. But the thing that you actually said it in our previous podcast, you said high school Alex would high five the shit out of current Alex. Which is so true, man. Because
That's a good thing to ask yourself. Is like, would the high school version of you be happy?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they all would,
yeah, I think so too.
I think none of them would expect the career.
Well, mine probably would be
choices.
like,
none of us
oh,
went,
whatever.
None of us. Wait, you didn't graduate college, right? Mm-mm. I didn't graduate college.
I didn't graduate one semester of college because I went to American Idol instead of my finals.
That's amazing. That's amazing. No, I failed my second semester, so.
Dude,
I just decided.
Hey,
to
look at us now. Hey, guys, guess what? We got 4 people on Facebook Live. Look at us now.
Yeah,
we all
made it. We've made it.
and 2/3 of us have hats, if that says anything at all. So I just recently got to perform and speak at an elementary school 2 days ago. Or was it yesterday? I don't know. I haven't been sleeping well because of this whole cold and pollen thing. I think it was yesterday. Man, everything is upside down.
Yeah,
I
you
feel like
definitely
I'm
didn't graduate college.
Yeah, the days are blurring.
Was it 2 or 5? Anyway, I got invited to go perform at the school for career day. When I got there, I found out it was college and career day. And so they're like, hey kids, go to college so you can pursue your dreams. I'm like, Alex, what did you study? And I went, business? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, for about 2 months. And I didn't want to turn to the kids and be like, I didn't go to school, you shouldn't either, because you absolutely should, unless it's not for you. That's what it comes down to. If it's something that you can do and you're going into a relevant field where you can actually make back that investment, go to school, especially if you're excited to do so.
Right.
But don't waste the money and the time following something that you absolutely know is not what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I think college is great. It's amazing if you go into it and you want to do that thing. And unfortunately, the tuition prices being ridiculous, and it is a money pit, and a money pit that doesn't have to be quite as much as it is. The price
gouging
doctors
is crazy.
should go to college without a doubt, but
You can't be like, I watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials, I've got this, I'm your surgeon.
right, but programmer,
Absolutely.
but photography, but
You want to go into marketing or whatever. It's like, how about you try to promote your friend's product and learn something about marketing in real life or what, and I'm not saying skip college and try to goof around with your friends and blah, blah, blah. But
most people should go to college.
yeah, but the thing that's interesting is I think
A lot of people should.
there's
a lot should.
there's always there's no one out there that's a pro voice for it's don't go get an education. That seems like a silly
That's
point.
a different thing. Do get an education. It doesn't
sure.
have to be formal.
Exactly.
As long, depends where the source is from. And that goes to I think if you look at these tech companies and everything, and 2 resumes are put down, and a lot of them and a lot of companies in general require that you have a degree of whatever amount. Who is the big time tech company going to take that truly cares about innovation? The kid who dropped out of high school and knows how to do code and has proven to code all these apps and is an amazing coder, or this kid who has a degree and no experience in the field. He hasn't done anything yet, but he has that piece of paper that he studied in the textbooks.
Yeah.
Especially, and I'm just using the tech industry as an example, but that's one of those industries that once the textbooks are printed and shipped to the school and the semester's over, they are outdated to a certain point. So you need to have a source of knowledge and a way of learning about things that is live and current. And
Absolutely.
And I think college...
Podcasts.
Yeah.
A lot of great
Keeping you to the
informational
ground.
podcasts.
For sure. Yeah. And that's a great way to stay current because there's always new ones. You're not looking back on,
And I love listening to ones with guests that end up saying I was wrong. Because I've listened to a few that have repeat guests and they say I was wrong about that. And because a lot of the nutritional ones and especially in the medical field, you have people who stick true to their guns. You have the people who swore that tobacco had no relationship to cancer, even when it was starting to it was proven at that point. Same thing with like sugar and obesity. Like there are people who still, swear in court or whatever that they say that
Fat chance.
But one of the important things about knowledge is that when you keep studying it and then you say, oh, I was so wrong about that. Cool. Glad I don't believe that now. Instead of just putting up a defensive wall that once your beliefs are challenged, you just go like, oh, nope. This is what I learned. So this is true.
Right.
Like all that other outside stuff, like, nah.
It doesn't fit with it's kind of like in politics, like it doesn't fit with the narrative, so we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, your identity is what you believe in, so now you can't change it or you're changing your identity. It should be separate from that and let what you believe change with the evidence and change with what you're learning.
Things have to flow in and things have to flow out too. If you want to bring in knowledge, you have to let go of some things, and it sometimes has to replace. And you might have like some people have this with religion where, they lived their whole entire life as like a very devout Christian or whatever religion you want to choose, and then they switch. And that's one of the major life-changing...
that'll flip your world upside down for real.
Yeah, and it's hard, but it's super important. So that goes with any knowledge too, any studies that you decide to do, the health industry. Exercise used to be seen as unhealthy. It was bad on the heart because it raised your heart rate up, and so that was seen as to potentially promote heart attacks. But now we know that's not true. Nobody's arguing that. But, and you have to... And once any information that comes out that goes against what you believe, instead of going like, oh, no, go, okay, let me listen to this. Like, I've listened to some podcasts with people that I don't like, I do not agree with. But
Those are good ones to listen to.
I want to listen to it because I was like, let me hear their point. Let me just hear the argument that I
Can they persuade you?
Yeah,
if they can. Maybe you should change your
that's
beliefs.
one of the-
What was your podcast idea name?
Oh, yeah, well, I don't want to say it now. I do.
But on the
Free
spot.
idea.
So I want to start a podcast where you bring a guest on. If they're promoting a book, you do the research as the interviewer to find out what they believe in, whatever they're passionate about. You do your due diligence, you learn what they're about, and they have to argue their opposite point, and you argue for them. So you do like a mock debate where you play them and they play devil's advocate to what they believe. And it's called the Devil's Avocado. That's my brother's idea for the name.
That's amazing.
Shout out
But I think it would be
Cameron.
really cool because you could go in and have the goal be that, like, yeah, you're probably not going to change your mind. If you wrote a book especially, you've got a lot invested in what you're saying. But if you go into it with this mindset of, all right, I'm going to do my best to argue against my points, you're going to clarify a lot of your weaker points. You're going to learn what you can improve on. And you're going to probably learn a lot about something that you don't believe in. And even if you don't change your mind about it, you're going to think, okay, I can understand why they think that. I respect them more for it.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things about having that idea, though, is finding people that are going to take the truly, not controversial, but the best points against their argument. They might be choosing the super easy ones. So if you use like gun laws, for example, and that's when you bring up the gun debate, like my side on that is like both sides have great points, and I understand both. But
Don't point them at me.
But there's no good way out. There's no good.
I don't know, man. I think the one side has more hollow points.
That's way more
I'm
points.
triggered. I'm triggered.
Barely.
But like, so you're gonna have an
so
issue
sorry.
finding you're gonna have an issue finding people that want to give the best arguments against their case.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's like the challenge as the interviewer. Like, you've got to be an honest, spokesperson for what they believe. You've got to actually...
And make sure that they don't agree with you. That
Well,
they're
no.
not using a sarcastic tone. They're actually trying to, because they're gonna have to do research if they want to truly do this the right, which is
Absolutely.
awesome. Like,
So I think-
love the idea.
I think it'd be so cool to make it a comfortable environment where somebody can take that guard off and say, okay, I think I've heard this argument before against what I'm saying. I think it's actually a pretty good argument. Look into that further, and then I'll do my best to defend their points and try to do it honestly, so that they're like, almost flattered that I've done the research on it. That they're like, okay, I can play devil's advocate because I know that he's actually backing my points adequately.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate about Jordan Peterson. He always talks about how he tries, like when he writes his books, he tries to go over every line and find the weak points. Mm-hmm. And whether you agree with everything Jordan Peterson says or not, because there's a lot to disagree with, but I feel like you have to respect that he does go through a lot of... He's very careful with his words, and like... I just feel like you have to respect that.
He dips his toes into a lot of different, and so like there are certain areas where Alex isn't quite.
He and I have this conversation a lot because
This conversation?
This conversation.
Conversation.
I really respect Jordan Peterson, but there are big problems that I have with his ideology and his way of thinking. Connor likes him a lot more than I do, but I really respect him as like an intellectual, and I listen to what he says. I'm like, okay, he's an articulate guy. But
He
Connor,
sounds like Kermit the Frog.
he does sound like Kermit the Frog. Absolutely.
Quite a lot.
But it's cool because the fact that he takes this like really objective standpoint means that when we talk about our disagreements about him, we also have like a much better conversation because that's the starting point.
And the point of the conversation isn't to change your mind, and your point isn't to change my mind. We both know that, that if that so happens, I'm not unwilling to change my mind.
Right.
I'm open to hear, and I know you are too. But at the end of it, we learned some great points. I thought, I got to see why you believe what you believe, and I agree with a lot of the points, but, I still...
Here's where we differ. Now we've clarified it.
Yeah. And instead of putting up a defensive wall and saying, you're a fucking idiot for having a opposing
Or just being
opinion.
closed to the conversation to begin with. I think that's the most
We
harmful
invited
thing.
it. That's kind of like, like we hung out and we're like, let's talk about and so we just sat on the back porch and for like over an hour and a half. We just talked about our disagreements, smiling, laughing our asses off the whole time.
It was so much fun.
Yeah. Like I had a...
I hate you for it.
No, you're just wrong, but whatever.
And I think that's the true sign of an open mind. Like I did a podcast with my friend Taylor Ayers, and he was like, a true sign of an open mind is, being willing to take in any information, regardless of how offended you might be or whatever. He's like,
And let
he's
it
like,
out, too.
You invite me to a satanic ritual, I'll pull up, I'll bring a goat. He's like, I've got a farm, I'll bring a goat, bro. Like, he's like, I'll check it out. Like, seriously, I want to see what it's about, because it's kind of like when you have a child and you shelter them so much and you don't let them get exposed to the real world. What's
Tell
going to
them
happen?
what to think, not how to think.
What's going to happen when they go out into the real world? You experience a lot of problems because they never learn to think for themselves or anything. And
Starts to challenge their identity.
for sure.
And once your identity is challenged, it's scary to have. We're all so uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Like we want to stay in our comfort zones, and this is what I know to be true. So it's just way more comfortable to not challenge that. Some kind of just fucking nope, that's going to make me uncomfortable, and that's not what I want. But in order to grow, like you have to be uncomfortable. Like there's some super cliche quote about like you're not going to find true adventure unless you get like a few thorns, or I think that's a Chinese proverb or something
Sounds
that
Chinese,
that I just butchered. But
Great accent, by the way.
It's like that needs to be a quote. Like there's no adventure without the thorns or something like that. Connor Peterson, like in beautiful script.
Absolutely.
Someone make that meme. if someone makes
Henry
that meme,
David Connor does not know. But
I like those fake quotes where it'll say like something about the internet and it'll say like George Washington or something like that. Like, you can't believe everything you see on the internet. George Washington.
have you seen the offensive wallpapers where it's like a beautiful background and then like in like letters it's like kind of hollowed out like in the clouds? It would just be like, "You're a cunt." There's much worse ones.
Yeah.
But
you picked a really easy stepping point into. He says that, and then he's like, "Well, there are worse
There's
ones. Don't
worse
think they're all
ones."
easy and like family friendly like that one."
Like you're dumb. There's worse ones. Like
I disagree with you. That's the Canadian one.
There's some really bad ones. Like you're very silly. Like
they're just awful.
I want to take a step back and
That's me
back to the satanic rituals. When I was in Boston, no, it gets better.
Someone just tuned in and like back to that shit. I don't want to watch that.
You brought your goat though, so I know I have a screenshot. I have to
greatest
find
of
it.
all time.
Back in early 2018, you guys remember it. My girlfriend and I were up in Boston, and I was like trying to find an event to go to because we were just bored and we couldn't find anything to do. And I kid you not, there was an actual group of satanic yoga.
Wait, this was at
I sent it to you too.
Sandrock. Was it at Sandrock? Because they do it at Sandrock too.
They do satanic yoga?
Okay, it was something like that because they were all on the very top and they're speaking in tongues and like very loud and like it was weird and they're all speaking in tongues differently, like they're not doing like the same chant. And so like I have it on GoPro and I was like looked over because it's at this climbing place and I look over and it's like very early in the morning, like the sun's rising and like people are like doing weird shit.
So
like
it's
kind of
like
like the I'm possessed.
hot yoga, like Hades.
Yeah, like
hell.
they're trying to find their way into hell in order to get work up a sweat and get the heat shock proteins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Summon the hellfire.
Hey, there you go. January metal yoga at the Satanic Temple. So you listen to metal music while doing yoga at the Satanic Temple.
Can we please go?
We have to go just to see what it's about.
Let's pull up. I'll bring my goat.
Yeah, bring your camera.
Yes.
Because he's already a yoga filmer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Side note, filming yoga is awkward.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure a lot of
Being in
people
yoga
are
for
like,
me is
please
awkward.
don't film me.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I probably wouldn't want you filming me doing yoga because
like that's the thing
it's
is
bad.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine way of doing it, and then there's a weird way. Lots of you could easily have very unflattering videos and pictures of people, but yeah, just putting that out there, very weird. But the satanic thing, I think the thing about the satanic thing,
They're not actually satanic.
Exactly. I think people are they just want to be
Part of something.
counterculture. They want to be like
They want to be so
offensive.
nonconformist that they're going to find the other nonconformist and conform
I ended up
to make
like
an
reading the
anticonformist
description
group.
on it, and they're like, this actually is not a religious statement. We have a satanic temple. We're devoted to just not believing in anything and being against church and state. And I'm like, cool for that, but you kind of made a statement, man.
saying Satan is believing.
We
in
put the word
Satan.
satanic temple, but it's not. But we just put it there.
We're really just
you
agnostic.
Yeah. Like we could have put
We're
Furbies and
satanic-ish.
Beanie Babies, but we put satanic temple instead.
Ooh, hey, can we finally address the
Why we're saying that?
the Furby in the room? So
I think we can finally address the beanie Furby.
I called my brother last night, and I just talked with him for 2 minutes about dyslexia because my girlfriend, who is an
Not allowed.
Connor's gonna leave the room.
take
My
your shirt
girlfriend,
off.
who is an occupational
I
therapist.
get really uncomfortable talking about Furbies and Beanie Babies. It's a long story. I don't want to talk about it.
We'll wait.
Why
My girlfriend was educating me about.
There's a bathroom right there, and he went in the hall.
Yeah, because he probably doesn't want to have that big
Tinkling.
background noise.
Well, I wanted it.
You can add that in afterwards.
Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Long story long, basically, we talked about dyslexia for like 2.5 minutes, and somehow, I think we know how, Google started giving my brother suggestions on YouTube for information about dyslexia, and we had not typed about it. We had not done anything other than just spoke, on FaceTime. So
weird.
we conducted an experiment today where we started talking about things that we absolutely do not talk about on a daily basis, Furbies and Beanie Babies, and we're going to see if it starts, showing up in our ads or showing up in our suggested videos on YouTube.
Well, now that we're on Facebook Live, I bet you Facebook is like transcribing what we're saying in the background, so maybe this will happen.
It's like Furbies and BB Babies. I've said that like 4 times now. BB
babies?
Babies.
Well, BB Babies are
That's an NRA stuffed animal.
along with the Hollow Point
Yeah.
conversation. That's hilarious. Yeah, so maybe we'll start to see Furbies and Beanie Babies. That's how you say it.
Is that a tongue
guess-
twister for you?
Yeah, well, he said
maybe,
BB Babies.
maybe if it goes well and there's a place to have this be relevant, you could give an update to the people.
Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna reach out to TY and see if they'll sponsor the show. Isn't that the company that makes Beanie Babies? TY, Ty or something?
Ty, yeah.
Ty,
Oh my gosh,
TY.
yeah. The little red tag with the heart.
Yeah. There was a video that went viral on Facebook or on YouTube a while ago of this guy who made like a piano or like like it had piano keys and every key was assigned to a different Furby. And he like rewired every single Furby to make them do different things.
Did the mouth still open? every
Yeah.
time? That's hilarious.
It was crazy. It was like an organ, like how there was like a platform of them and it was elevated so you could see them like a choir of Furbies.
Oh my
and
gosh.
every time you pressed a key, it would open a different Furby's mouth. It was actually quite
What an
mesmerizing.
interesting time we live in.
Yeah, and it lit up too.
Somebody had that idea. Just think about that.
Yeah.
Someone had the
He was
idea
a pretty
one
big,
day.
like I'd never seen him before, but he had a pretty big like following, and I think he had a sponsor for it, so it wasn't just like he
By
set
who,
out
Furby?
to buy.
Because Furby's not around anymore.
No, it was some sponsor that helps him make crazy weird music
I mean,
videos.
mission
and stuff,
accomplished
but-
though, because we're here talking about it. So.
Yeah, for sure. But speaking of sponsors, didn't you just get a sponsor or something with some place? I saw you did like a post about it. Okay, I don't want to. Okay, never mind.
Oh, about that one?
Yeah, I saw you posted a story from some place.
So I do have an endorsement from Audio-Technica microphones, which is what I'm using right now, and I have an endorsement through Zoom mobile recorders, which is what I'm using right now.
Oh, dope.
And
I did not know that.
yeah, those are awesome. I've been wanting to Zoom for forever, and I went to a big music conference.
I love that show growing up.
Well, this is different. So I was in California a couple months ago, and I met with some of the reps out there, and I was just like, "Hey guys, it'd be really nice to have one of these." And they said, "Well, you can do these things if you have this many social media followers." And I went, "Well, I think I might." So I have one now.
That's very cool.
So yay there, but I'm working with another company, an Atlanta company that is a national company based in Atlanta. And we may or may not be scheduling an event together for later this year that you should keep your eyes out for because it's going to be awesome.
Very cool.
More than that, I cannot say.
Very, very cool. Well, that leaves us in major suspense. But do you know who it is? Did you post a story about him the other day? It's gone now, so people can't go and look.
I did, and I can.
We don't have to say it. We don't have to say it. I was just curious about
We talked about those awkward silences in
correct.
podcasts.
We found it.
It was Eddie's attic. Eddie's attic is support. No, I'm just kidding. No, that honestly, that's really, really cool. And that company, if I know the company, has been making some really cool moves. So
absolutely.
Keep an eye
Well, I just think it's
on
really
that.
cool that somebody as young as me can support the Depends adult diaper industry.
They've always been so limited to a certain.
I didn't know
demographic
Depends
of
was
age,
Atlanta
but-
based.
Depends.
Oh man, that was odd. But okay, so we won't talk about that. But yeah, it's either solid or like what Depends got you covered. Either way,
They're my number 2 company I would choose for the job.
oh my goodness,
Oh man, I'm gonna regret that.
that was good. That was really good.
That was a shitty joke.
No, but their number, that was a shitty joke.
We're
There was-
number 1 in the number 2 business.
Yeah. Oh wow. You should. Yeah.
I want to do marketing after that.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. You should. But okay. So we talked about what, obviously skydiving and everything, and we were talking about how you are now friends with Jennifer Hudson. We didn't talk about your show with Kelly Clarkson because I feel like that was a pretty cool thing.
Oh,
Right.
that was a pretty big.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Opportunity.
It was at the Roxy.
How did
was a
that
great
happen,
show.
and how did?
Well,
Tell us about it.
The commercial opened up a dialogue with some of the people over at 94.1, Star 94 Atlanta. Atlanta! And
94.
Didn't you get to do the whole? My name's Alex Guthrie, and welcome to Star.
yeah,
94?
I did. I didn't do that for that channel. I did just a commercial for them. But
Yeah.
I'm close friends with a lot of people over there. They're super, super supportive people. Just like wonderful human beings who actually care about music, who want to help people out. I'm one of those people, fortunately. And Kelly Clarkson was coming through Atlanta at an event that they put on at the Roxy, and they called me and were like, "Hey man, we really want to help you out. Do you want to play this show?" And I didn't even have to reach out to them. I mean, they were just looking for things to do to help me because they're
That's amazing.
good people.
That's really cool.
And that was
And
a packed
obviously-
house too.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was a
Somebody
great show.
passed out while I was playing. and
Yo, that was
I
so
thought people were
insane.
requesting a song, and so I'm like, "What is it? I can't hear you," kind
He's
of thing.
dying. I don't know that one. Next one.
I
He's
kept
on
on
the floor. Bodies hit the floor. I don't play that.
That's basically what happened. I kept saying, "I don't know that song. What song?" And they're like, "Please call a medic." And so I got back on the microphone and I was like, "Hey, we really need a medic to the stage."
Black Betty ambulance.
You would be the guy that would do like a pun song like that, though.
I didn't, thankfully.
No, that was nuts. So, did you ever find out why he passed out? Because I'm sorry,
he's
no
such a big
offense, but
fan. He saw you in person.
Your shows
Let's go
aren't
with
quite the do Molly and pass out kind of show.
Yeah, well,
You
shit
never
for that
know.
one.
Kelly Clarkson, dude, she's a wild chick.
Yeah, so apparently she just overheated and passed out. It was not at all the story that I wished it was. Like, she was having a baby and that baby was dancing and that baby passed out from a heat stroke. Like,
I was thinking she was just such a big fan. She was so like, "Oh my God, Alex Guthrie!" And then,
that is probably what
yeah,
happened.
we're sticking with that one.
I got over that about 2 weeks after knowing you. So
Still not over it, buddy.
I'm still in that phase, dude. I'm kind of freaking out. But
that was
so
pretty wild.
That
but
was that your
that show was awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that That wasn't because you played some music festivals. Those are pretty big crowds. But was that one of the bigger crowds you've done?
That was the biggest one in Atlanta.
Nice.
We played Summerfest in Milwaukee last year.
Yeah.
And we played
That's
two different.
a lot of split
was-
crowds though, right? Because different stages are happening.
We did our podcast like
huge.
right before that because I
Right,
remember
right.
that was right when the commercial was starting and you were saying American Family Insurance is like one of the sponsors for that festival and all that stuff.
Well, we're going back again this year.
That's awesome.
And we get to play on a bigger stage this year. We're doing another festival in Chicago. That's thank you to the awesome people who wanted to have me at the festival, and then also were like, "Hey, you've got a relationship with American Family Insurance. Could you get them to be a sponsor?" And I was like, "Absolutely. Could you put me on a bigger stage?" And long story short, American Family Insurance sponsoring me on a bigger stage.
That's really cool.
12,000 people.
Wow. That's
I'm hoping I don't faint.
yeah, seriously. That's amazing.
So before a show like that, were you nervous?
No, I don't get nervous. Like, I am more. I don't know. You get like the anticipation that builds up, where you don't want to screw anything up. Like, I keep going through my mind, like, what are my lyrics to my songs? What are my lyrics to my songs? Don't ruin this. But I don't get like nervous to be in front of people.
You did forget your lyrics to Eddie's Attic.
I forget my lyrics every damn time.
That was.
I forgot my
You
lyrics.
just get too comfortable and then you're just like,
Well, I had an existential meltdown at City Winery last week. I was about to play a song, and it's my mom's favorite song, and I usually say this is my mom's favorite, but now I've said it too many times, so I thought, I'll let that be for a little bit. Which my mom corrected me at the Roxy show and said, "Hey, it's not my favorite song." And my dad walked up and went, "Why don't you say it's my favorite? That was my favorite song." And I was like, "Sorry, Dad." That's my bad. I accept that. Anyway. I was at City Winery, I'm starting to play the song, and in my head I'm like, I'm really glad my mom likes this one. I really hope I achieve everything I need to achieve before my mom's like not willing to come out to my shows and it's getting too late, and like what happens if like I have to move and then my mom can't come out to shows anymore? Oh my gosh, I should have mentioned my mom in this. Oh shit. And then I realized I had missed an entire part of the verse, and my bassist Jonathan's looking at me like, "What are you doing?" But I think we played it off. Nobody seemed to notice.
did you just not sing?
No, I just skipped over a part and like went to another part of the song.
Because you've gotten so used to playing them that you can now. It's like when you listen to music, you can think about other stuff. And so for you, like you're just playing this all muscle and vocal memory at this point that you can start to think about other things. And so then it's like, okay, time to get back to what I was doing. You're like, wait, where the fuck was I?
Yeah.
So it happened. I pretty much forget lyrics every time. We get off stage and we have our little band pep talk about, hey, everybody did this really well. What can we do to improve for the next show? We watch the tape, and every time they're like, "Alex, how do you not know these? You wrote them.
You wrote them.
And you've been playing them for how many years? Stop screwing up, man."
Yeah.
Thankfully, nobody seems to notice.
Yeah.
Except for you.
Yeah. I was gonna say
No,
your
said
diehard
on
fans.
stage.
Your
You said
diehard
on
fans
stage
will
that
know.
time.
That time I couldn't play it
you're
off.
like, I forgot my lyrics.
I didn't have a choice that time. It was too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say your true fans. Right here. We know all the words, so
We know.
we'll know.
Guys.
Seriously though, your album was like one of the few CDs that I owned in my car. So like, I would just, oh cool, and I would just throw it in, and then it was like your thing on repeat. And rarely do I ever listen to like albums on repeat like that.
Oh
so,
man, I was going through a really hard breakup, and like I swear I put your album on repeat and like all day, every day, just like listen to your album and like.
Thanks, man.
Like, and I wasn't doing that because you're my friend. Like that was just genuinely. I was
We're
just
not
like, this
friends.
is.
I'm not doing it because I'm your friend. You're not my friend.
We're just not friends. But your music's great. But yeah, and so that was one of the few albums that I can.
You were replaced by
listen to.
Jennifer Hudson.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I can do what she can do.
Do it. Let's hear it, Connor.
I'm saving it for later.
Just context again. Anyways, I feel like we're probably ignoring Jen on here because she said that BuzzFeed tried to experiment with the Beanie Baby Furby thing before, and Guy
was
talks about
inconclusive.
cribs for several days to see if Facebook would show ads, but maybe brand specific is the way to go.
Well,
We will report back.
My old roommate and I, we talked about him especially had like he's very into the conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff. So this falls quite in line with that. And he goes, Like he's talking about, it's like, all right, we're just gonna talk about gardening tools for like a while, and like don't search anything obvious. Like had no reason to, had no garden.
You did search hose.
Oh, that might have been.
Misogyny isn't funny.
I was talking about gardening.
Yeah, duh. And so,
for
but
guys
I did end up getting gardening ads on Facebook, and so did he. So, but whether it's just, but I don't know. It was creepy. It was a little weird because I did it just out like joking around because he's more of the conspiracy theorist.
You're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Fucking Alex Jones, I swear to God.
Intergalactic child molesters.
No, I need to sell you something.
This is a family show. I'm sorry.
He's like, I only got enough money to have this run for maybe 2 more days. Probably gonna sell my house. I need you to buy some stuff. Where's a Rolex? Owns 3 Rolexes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
if you haven't yet and you're listening to this, watch the Alex Jones on the John Oliver.
But watch Alex Guthrie first.
Yeah, watch Alex Guthrie.
No. I'm thinking, watch Alex Jones, then come back to me because I'm going to be the better Alex.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Very, very cool. I feel like we've talked about a lot of things and we are getting...
Well, now we need to sell our stuff.
Yes, we do. Exactly. Of course.
Do you have any new sponsors?
So, Connor, I actually do have a sponsor, which is very exciting.
Tell us about it.
I don't
Well,
know.
I'm going to talk about it at the beginning of the podcast anyway, so people already know, but it is Brooke Watson with Keller Williams, Chattahoochee North. I have to say that because she can't just say like her name not associated with that, but she is a really cool real estate agent. She approached me and was like, hey, how do I be a sponsor on your show? And I'm like, you pay me money and I talk about you on my show. And so now she's a sponsor of my show. Pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And one cool thing that we're doing, obviously if you're listening to this on Facebook, you haven't heard it yet, but if you're listening to this in the future, you've already heard the ad that I did, but I'm trying to make them as future. Thank you for that reference. I love SpongeBob so much. But one thing that I'm doing that's interesting is so Brooke and I almost said me and Brooke and I actually have recorded like a short mini podcast almost. And I'm actually going to play little chunks of that as the ad where she like answers questions about real estate. Like we talk about different stories where she's helped people.
That's really cool.
Because I want to bring value and I want it to be different every time. And I want it to be not the typical ad read. So I thought that'd be like a cool thing to do.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyways.
What do you
cool
have to
stuff.
sell, Alex?
What do I have to sell?
Merch. Link in bio.
Buy a shirt, man. You should totally find my music on Spotify, Google Play, Pandora, Tidal, other places, I'm sure.
Are you really on Tidal?
Probably. No, I know I'm on Tidal. It's just
Very cool.
maybe 3 or 4 people have ever been excited about that.
Yeah. They're like, wow, I can listen to Alex Guthrie in high fidelity or whatever it is.
Yeah. Nobody ever gets excited. Anyway.
That was one of those, the screen goes black and white. The
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yes.
Anyway, find my music, come see a show. All of my information is available on alexguthriemusic.com.
And the L is silent.
Oh man,
That's another story.
yeah, that's another podcast.
Guthrie.
I had a teacher in high school who, the first day of school, she's like, Alex Guthrie? And I went, it's Guthrie. And she went, yes, correct me if I say your name wrong. So day 2 runs around, Guthrie again. So I'm like, hey, it's Guthrie. She went, sorry, my bad. We go through a week of this. Monday of the following week rolls around, and she's like, Guthrie. And I went, ma'am, it's Guthrie. The L is silent. And she goes, there ain't no L in your name. And I was like, yeah, I know. And we did not get along for a while after that.
Wow. All right, so let's wrap it up. All right, no, I'm just kidding. Connor, where can we find where can we buy your merch?
All right, you can buy my non-existent merch at. You can just follow me on Instagram at stoked.ninja. I just post my skydiving videos and stuff there. So don't give me money, but give money to Spaceland Atlanta and come jump with me because it's the most fun you can have. I can ride up in the plane with you, and I'd rather you do that. So just come out, come jump with me, Spaceland Atlanta. You can find more information on my Instagram account at Stoked Ninja. and keep up with my Ninja Warrior, rock climbing, skydiving, skateboarding.
If you're interested in anything, he probably does it. So
Yeah.
find him.
Underwater basket weaving.
Yeah, that's the new one.
If people want to like actually talk to you, like where's the best place to send you like a quick message if they want to ask you a question or whatever?
Instagram for
Instagram
me.
DM?
Yeah, I'm completely open public, and so yeah.
Alex, are you unreachable or can people talk to you?
Please reach out. I hope I get to the point where like people assume I'm an asshole like that. But for
Actually,
now,
hashtag algorithm, comment on my Instagram photo.
Yes,
actually
comment.
do that.
My Instagram is Alex Guthrie. It used to be the Alex Guthrie until I paid the person who had the right one.
How much did you have to pay them?
I said $50, but they were from Scotland, so I paid them £50, which was $63 at the time of the.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
nice.
So
$63 to get a better username? Hey.
it's totally worth it.
Hashtag
And now you can
algorithm.
find her at Alex Guthrie 1996.
So she still gets the shout out.
Yeah,
from
we
me,
can
Alex
still
Guthrie.
follow her.
Who did she have to pay? Who did she have to pay to get that username?
The person who's Alex Guthrie 1996.1.
Very nice. Very cool.
But awesome stuff as always.
Dude.
I really enjoyed my first three-way.
This is the first roundtable discussion, and we're not even at a round table.
It's got rounded corners.
This
It's
is
a
our
parallelogram, Connor.
This is our first rectangle table discussion, and I think it went really well. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for being on the show, and we'll see you later, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
See ya, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. As always, that was an extremely awesome episode, and I want to thank Alex and Connor for hanging out with me. I love talking to those guys, and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us as well. Make sure you follow us on social media so that you know when the next live one is going to be in case you want to participate like some of the other people did. Thanks again to Brooke Watson of Keller Williams Chattahoochee North for supporting the show. If you have any real estate needs, please go to her website, BrookeWatson.House. If you like the little convo at the beginning or you'd rather us do something else, let us know. Very open to suggestions, and send us your questions so that we can answer them on an upcoming episode. And as promised, I'm going to perform Alex's new single at the end of the episode, so don't go away. Just kidding, I'm not going to perform it. I'm going to play it. Are you nuts? That'd be pretty hilarious though. But anyways, first of all, if you enjoyed this episode, you should definitely go back and listen to episode 13 and 61 with Connor Peterson. Connor shared his backstory of how he got into skydiving and OCR racing and all kinds of fun stuff. And you would also probably enjoy listening to episode 22 with Alex Guthrie. Same deal. We shared his backstory and his climb, his ups and downs of being a professional musician. So go check those out. Episode 85 is coming up next with Laura Esposito. She is an entrepreneur, painter, designer, creativity coach, and world traveler. And after graduating from the University of Georgia, she joined the corporate world. But then she decided that wasn't for her, and she pursued her entrepreneurial spirit and created her first company, Charlie Woods, which is a designer mug company. And now she's focusing on her design studio, LE Designs, where she's able to pursue her creative passions through art and design. And I had an awesome time chatting with her about her upbringing and entrepreneurial journey. And I can't wait for y'all to check that episode out later this week. If you want to support the show, best way to do that is to go to iTunes and rate it 5 stars. That really, really helps me out be discovered. iTunes is the best place for people to discover a new podcast, so ranking higher there is extremely important to getting this out to more people. Also, just sharing this podcast with a friend. If you really enjoyed this episode and you know somebody else who would enjoy it as well, send them this podcast. It would be awesome, and it really helps us all out. And hopefully it brings value to them. Anyways, if you want to follow me, you can go to my website, andrewdeitch.com. You can find all the links to all my stuff there. You can also sign up for my email list where I notify you every time there's a new episode, so you never miss a freaking episode, and you always know when one is coming out. Also, as promised, I'm going to play Alex Guthrie's latest single, Is It Me? Just a fair warning, this song is amazing, and it will get stuck in your head. So if you're singing it all day long, don't act like I didn't warn you. And if you made it all the way here to the end, it's probably because you wanted to hear the song. But if you're still here, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the heck out of all of you guys, and your support blows me away every single day. So without any further ado, please enjoy Is It Me by Alex Guthrie.
Is it me? Is it something I say? Is it something I do? Am I lost? Am I confused? Was I too cold, too shy? Well, sometimes there's no reason, we're just shy, right? Close approximation in a state of irritation. I lost my motivation, and out the door you threw my things along with all my patience. I still second guess, is it me? Is it something I say? Is it something I do? Am I lost? Am I confused? I run it through my head. Retrospective introspection helps my thoughts collect. Still I see no merit. Take the burden, you can wear it. I did all I could to bear it. You put me up, I put you out, and now I don't care. Is it me? Is it something I say? Is it something I do? Am I lost? Am I confused? Whoa, whoa. It's not me. Oh, baby, it's you. What am I supposed to do? Lost, am I confused? Is it me? Is it something I say? Is it something I do? Am I lost? Am I? Is it me? Is it something I say? Is it something I do? Am I lost? Am I confused?
Hey, you're listening to this in the morning, and it's like follows a script. Yeah, exactly.
Wacky and zany news.